parts can be easily purchased on the black market. Stolen radioactive materials are currently under investigation. Terrorists can make the bomb. The question is, can we stop them? Nuclear strike.
Gary Miller in the studio. Astros down to their last at bat. You can see the conclusion of the Braves-Astros game on ESPN2. For the rest of you, Al Leiter is warming up for Game 2 with the Marlins and Giants. Here is Chris Berman and Ray Knight in Miami.
All right, Gary, thank you very much, and welcome to Pro Player Stadium. And Ray Knight, if Game 1 of this Giants-Marlins series is indicative of what's to come, let's bring it on.
I'm telling you, Chris, there was a lot of things in that first game that were really exciting. Good defensive play. Pitching was excellent. Again tonight, expect to see good pitching from Estes and Leiter. And if the defense repeats last night, we're going to have another close ball game.
Same weather situation as yesterday as Al Leiter goes up against Sean Estes. It was raining this morning, then it was sunny in the middle of the day, but I know it's October, but it's still summer here in Florida. Let's make no mistake. The ominous clouds, and we often have rain between 4 and maybe 5:15. It is not raining today yet as it was yesterday at game time, but it could come along. Dave Campbell is also working with us in the spotlight. And just kick back and relax and, I don't know, maybe bite off the other nails that you didn't bite off yesterday, as Al Leiter has started off against the center fielder for the Giants, Stan Javier, with 2 straight balls.
And that's what you're going to see with Leiter. Both of these pitchers, Leiter and Estes, have problem with control. Leiter walked 91 batters. He comes right at you, but he usually is wild.
There's the pitch in there for a strike. Well, Al Leiter, of course, he certainly can throw as hard as just about anybody in the game, Ray. And you know full well the Giants know that at times. And Javier, who had the first hit off Kevin Brown yesterday, has the first hit for the Giants today. So Stan Javier, of course, didn't wait to the 5th inning this time. Here is our Pepsi Giants lineup for Dusty Baker, and lots of changes. We'll explain them as we go along. Javier starts in right field. That's a mistake. He's the center fielder, and he leads off. Jose Vizcaino at second. Is at short. Bonds at left. Jeff Kent is at first. Mark Lewis at second. Glenn Allen Hill in right. Billy Miller is at third base. Brian Johnson at catcher. Sean Estes is the pitcher against Al Leiter. So Dusty Baker goes a little more offense with Glenn Allen Hill in right field. Puts Javier in center field for Darrell Hamilton. The big change in the lineup, more than that, as Vizcaino steps in, is that J.T. Snow is not in the lineup, so they lose defense at first. Kent at first, Lewis at second on the right side. Reason? They both are excellent fastball hitters as Vizcaino tries to lay this one down. And Ray, J.T. Snow, if there's one type of pitcher that he has trouble with, it's lefties high up in the strike zone across the letters. Snow only has one of his home runs against the lefty. So Dusty went for offense in this matchup with Leiter.
Well, no question about it. And Al Leiter, we mentioned him being wild. He's generally wild high. He's a very hyper man. He likes to work fast. He throws a lot of fastballs. He's got a real nice, tight slider that really gets in on right-handed hitters, but he's generally wild high in the strike zone.
We have a chance to explain Dusty Baker's thinking, but he definitely loses defense, but adds offense, so it's a bit of a gamble. Leiter does not work as fast as Kevin Brown nor Kirk Reeder yesterday. We really had an efficient and obviously well-pitched game yesterday by the starters and by the relievers. Certainly Dennis Cook of the Marlins who got the win. Vizcaino will foul it back. Now, Kevin Brown certainly gave the Marlins something to hang their hat on. Had the perfect game until the 5th inning, which a little oddity on that as well. Stan Javier, who broke it up. Now look at yesterday, almost identical, except that Kevin didn't walk anybody. Reeder had a few walks, but they each gave up solo home runs. That was about all you could fault them with. Great job by both. As you look at Javier at first base, a little note. He broke up the postseason bid at a perfect game by Kevin Brown yesterday. His father, Julian Javier, broke up Jim Lomborg's attempt at a perfect game, no-hitter, in Game 2 of the 1967 World Series in the top of the 8th inning, St. Louis at Boston. Vizcaíno sits as Leiter comes back big in the count.
Well, it looks like to me that he's really staying behind the baseball. You see him, this ball is right down there around the knees outside Black. Again, Charles Johnson framing the ball as well as any catcher in the league. And not to be redundant, but when Al Leiter is on, he keeps the ball down in the strike zone and then elevates the fastball to strike you out. When he's struggling, he throws a lot of fastballs early, high, and he goes deep into a lot of counts.
This is Barry Bonds. Swinging at the first pitch through the hole on the right side. Javier can move and will go to third and challenge the arm of Sheffield. Safe. Runners at the corners for the Giants with one out.
Chris, you've often heard about advantage of first baseman holding a runner on and a left-handed batter hitting the ball through the hole. This is a great example when Bonds just pulls this ball just to the right of the second baseman, but there's a huge hole at first base when the first baseman's holding the runner on. And smart hitters try to pull that ball, and he pulled the ball right through that hole.
Barry now 2 for 5 here in the postseason. And that'll bring up Jeff Kent playing first base today. And as we said yesterday so often, that if you want to vote for an MVP for the Giants this year, I think Jeff Kent would get the majority of the votes. With what he did in the first half of the year, Ray. Driving in runs, setting records for second baseman. The Giants, 121 RBIs. And what he did speaks for itself.
Boy, he had a great year, a career year for him. He's always been a real good hitter with power, but those 121 RBIs is really special. There's that high fastball. When he tries to overthrow, he's going to elevate a lot. We played him last year when he walked 7 guys and pitched out of it. He really pitches out of trouble well.
Up the middle, Renteria dives and saves a run. What hasn't he shown us in these 2 games?
Just another great play. The ball's inside. He fights the ball off Renteria with that great first step that Dave Campbell talked about yesterday. Makes the play easily. Only way you make that play is by getting that initial jump on the first step, and Renteria is as good as anybody.
So Kent, figuring he had an RBI, will sit down and watch runners at the corners again. Javier at third, Bonds at first for Mark Lewis, getting his first start in this series. Lewis, a very good fastball hitter. 10 home runs and knows Leiter a little bit from the American League.
Right there you see Jeff Conine off the bag, not holding the runner on behind him.
Little number, that'll be foul.
And that's something that Jimmy Leland started over in Pittsburgh when Jeff King played first base, and it's very difficult to get a jump. What you have to do is you get off the outside shoulder of the first baseman and then just take off. Because if you end up on the inside shoulder, there's no way you can get a jump and steal a base. But that is something that Jimmy Leland basically innovated by having the first baseman off the line.
In there for a strike to Lewis. The count is 1-2. By the way, 2 outs in Atlanta. The Braves lead it 13-3. And we'll let you know when that posts a final. We understand that we'll keep you posted when that is over, but here's a big pitch from Leiter with runners at the corners and 2 outs. Lewis, very patient.
Very good 2-strike hitter. Mark Lewis hits the ball to right field very, very well. He's the type of batter that fouls off a lot of pitches. Here's that cutter hard down and in. It's very tough to lay off of. And Mark Lewis is able to lay off of it. But he makes good contact. Very tough 2-strike hitter.
Through that same hole that was vacated, Lewis does the job. Javier to third, 1-0 San Francisco. And neither base hit to the right side of frozen rope, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't make any difference. All you have to do is hit the ball hard on the ground, and I like the way that the Giants have come out here, going to third base, challenging Sheffield. But again, great two-strike hitter. The ball inside, and he inside outs the ball to right field, and that's what you're going to see from most good two-strike hitters. They have the ability to hit the ball to right field on any pitch, out or in.
So the gamble for offense has paid off thus far for Dusty Baker, with Lewis in the lineup. Stung the ball, but was robbed by Renneria, and now we'll continue to see if the gamble works with Glenn Allen Hill. Glenn Allen Hill playing right field, Ray, in twilight situations, although with the clouds here, they get a break. That's when he was, let's say, he struggled the most playing right field.
He had a tough time. His 9 errors led the National League in most errors for a right fielder.
A lot of them came in late afternoon, you're losing the ball in the sun, that sort of thing. So Dusty Baker has to think twice with start times like this, but he wants offense. He figures there'll be more runs today than we had yesterday in the Marlins 2-1 win, and Hill is certainly a guy that can bring the bat.
Well, he can. Another thing, too, Mark Lewis was going to play today. He's played against most left-handers. Miller getting the big home run yesterday was one reason why he is playing.
Foul back. Of course, Miller switched hitters, so that didn't affect that. But usually he looks at Miller as a lefty, Lewis as a righty,
Absolutely.
And then flip-flops.
And generally Mark Lewis plays third, and you have JT playing first. But today he decided to play Miller at third base, and I think a lot had to do with that home run he hit last night, because Mark Lewis was going to play today.
Run home. Giants want more, but Leiter ahead of Hill 1 and 2. Outside. Whoa. Now this is a kind of a play designed by Lewis to get in a run down a little bit and get their other run home, but it's not going to work. Great. We need to talk about this when we come back. As the Giants run themselves out of a potential big inning, they do come up with one. They lead at 1-0. Let's go to the studio and Carl Randall.
Hi, Chris. Big innings only belong to the Braves today against the Astros. And once again, Bell, Bagwell, Biggio, they all struggle. Combined in the 2-game series, they are 1 for 25. Biggio got a hit in the 9th. That was the difference. 13-3 the final. They now head to Houston for Game 3. You can see it Friday on ESPN.
I know you like your outfit stylish. Any other line but the Gap is childish. Everybody working there's your personal stylist. You're falling. Once you hear the Gap calling, you can't resist the shopping. Big ballin', not stopping, yes, y'allin'. Jeans popping in every mall in town and city. GAP, gritty, ready to go. For us, by us, on the low. G, that's for getting the A for always. P, that's for power and the people that praise. Backwards, P for popular, A for attitude. G, get it going, Daddy. Gap is on the move. How easy is this? Fall into the Gap.
There's a legend that supposedly if you look really hard, you can see that horse smiling. Sometimes the horse does smile, and that's a sign of good luck. In just about any culture, really. That's why they got a horse and not like a deer. I've seen it wink at me. That horse has winked probably like twice. One time before I met my ex-wife, and another time before I ended up buying a car for really good value.
With text messaging, direct connect, two-way radio for instant contact.
Time's been changed to 3. Call Wilson right away.
Got it.
Right, 3.
And digital cellular for the ultimate in wireless security.
The time's been moved to 3.
On my way.
Nextel lets you accomplish even the most difficult business objectives.
Let's do it.
Get smart. Get Nextel, the national all-digital wireless network.
Now, the Giants did in 1 inning what it took. They got all 9 innings yesterday. They get a run off Al Leiter, and now it's the Florida Marlins with their chance to see if they can solve 19-game winner Sean Estes. And a little bit of lineup changes for Jimmy Leland, beginning right at the top. Kurt Abbott gets the start at second base for Craig Counsell. A little more offense. They're not concerned as much with defense. Well, they always are concerned, Ray, but with a sinker ball pitcher, Kevin Brown, Counsell they thought was a better fielding second baseman than Abbott, but Abbott swings a better bat. Certainly a little more than Counsell, who impressed us so much yesterday.
Well, he's a good-looking young player. But Kurt Abbott is no slouch. He's a shortstop, has played third and second. He's a solid defensive player also.
And he pays off right away with a base hit to center field. So maybe a little tone change from yesterday's pitchers duel. One up, one hit for the Marlins. Abbott a solid base hit to left center. And here is the Pepsi lineup. And yesterday, and look at the papers today, the clutch kid, 21 years young, Edgar Renteria, who steps to the plate. The game-winning RBI in the bottom of the ninth that has already scintillated at short in the top of the first. Abbott, Renteria, Sheffield in right, Padilla at third, Alou in left, Jeff Conine, the Barbarian, as at first again. Charles Johnson is the catcher. Devon White drops to the 8-hole, and Al Leiter ninth against 19-game winner, all-star pitcher Sean Estes. Renteria trying to bunt his way on. So you got two of the stars in future years working against each other here right now, Ray, with Renteria with 21 years of age and Sean Estes at 24 years of age.
Yeah, great little battle here. Renteria showing why he leads the National League in sacrifice bunt with 19, but that was a little more of a bunt for a base hit, but outstanding handler of the bat, hit and run really well, and just a real good number 2 hitter for a 21-year-old man.
Fouls this one away against Estes. Well, Estes was 12-2 at the All-Star break. Made the All-Star team and finished at 19-5. So his first full season in the bigs, hard to get much better than this, Ray.
Really is. You see those 100 base on balls, that led the National League. So not only does Al Leiter have a little trouble with control, so does Sean Estes, but a great young pitcher.
Now, Estes, obviously the heater is his best pitch as he averages about 8 strikeouts per 9, but his curveball is at several speeds. It looks like he throws 6 pitches, which he really doesn't do.
No, he really doesn't. He throws a fastball that he cuts, a fastball that he sinks.
Like that. Well, that was not a fastball, but that was the curve.
And a curveball that he starts and he elevates it. Like Sheffield says, he throws the ball up sometimes about chest high, and you take it, it's got so much bite on it that it ends up in the strike zone. There's an example of that curveball. Very tight rotation, almost 12 to 6 o'clock break, and then he just changes speeds on that. I mentioned the 2 fastballs and his slider, so he actually throws about 5 pitches. It looks like 8 pitches with a change of speed.
Keeping an eye on Abbott. In there on the inside corner, and he punches out Renteria. So there's the strikeout pitch when Estes needs it. 1 down in the Marlins first.
This just locks him up inside. After the breaking ball, tends to make you stay back a little bit and want to see the ball better, as Renteria was out front on the breaking ball, and Estes just busts him inside with the fastball. We mentioned yesterday, if you're going to throw a fastball after a soft pitch, you throw it inside as hard as you can. That's where you always should throw. Your hardest pitch is inside.
That'll bring up Gary Sheffield. Had a ringing double yesterday. In there for a strike.
Boomer, Sean Estes has one of the best slide steps to the plate in the game. Very difficult to run on. He unloads the ball to the plate in about 1-1. If the catcher gets the ball to second, 2 flat, that's 3-1, and not too many people can run on that.
Breaking ball in there for a strike. Fooled Sheffield 0-2. Gary told me before the game, although he has great respect for the curveball, he says, I've got to go up looking fastball. So the curve low and maybe low and away is maybe what Estes is looking to do with Sheffield, because, and he goes away with the fastball. Kent Vizcaíno, the return to Estes is not in time. A fielder's choice, and Abbott's gone.
Well, I think what Sean Estes is going to try to do with Gary Sheffield is like anybody else. You're going to try to pitch him away and get him out front, and then throw him the fastball in off the plate. Maybe elevate with the fastball up and inside. But as we said yesterday, you don't want to come inside to Sheffield and leave the ball on the plate at all, because he'll destroy it. There was a little turned over fastball. He took a little bit something off of it, and Sheffield hit it on the end of his bat to first base.
Bobby Bonilla 1 for 3 yesterday at a hard shot single in the first inning. And was on base a second time with a walk. One of the best hitters in the majors this year against left-handers. Swings at the first pitch, and this one will curl out of play into the Marlins bullpen area down the right field line. Bonilla against a hitting righty hit .372 this year. That's almost 100 points higher, albeit with less power, but less at bats. Almost 100 points higher than the other way around. Why do you think that is, Rick?
Well, I've always thought that he was a better right-handed hitter because sometimes he gets a little bigger left-handed. He tries to pull the ball a little bit more left-handed. He's also more of a high ball hitter right-handed as opposed to being a low ball hitter left-handed. But I think he's got as much power from the right side as he does the left side. He just doesn't get as many opportunities.
Estes with an interesting pickoff move. That's almost a slip-step pickoff move.
Yeah, it's almost a balk. He's a very difficult pitcher to run on. He's got a great move. He just steps over there and just keeps on. That's a step-off move there. He's got two moves. He steps off, and then he, a lot like Terry Mulholland does, and then he steps to first and keeps right on and follow the throw.
For just, if you will, a minute, he makes some wild pickoff attempts. Kent is not a regular first baseman, although I think yesterday he made a first baseman-like play covering first on the bunt on Miller's wild throw. So he does have some time. He's played there a little bit this year. He's played there before a little bit with Toronto, notably a few years ago. Just remember, it's not J.T. Snow.
No, J.T. Snow is way out ahead of everybody in the National League at first base. But Jeff Kent played middle infield and played third base, and first base is absolutely the easiest infield position to play. You saw him make that play there, wheel and throw to second base on the ball hit by Sheffield, and he's not going to have any problems over there.
3-1 pitch to Bonilla. Inside, Jack. Back it goes. Back. Florida leads 2-1. Well, we haven't even played an inning, and we got yesterday's score already, and we showed you the numbers that Bonilla is so dangerous against left-handers. Bobby Bowe with a home run, and the Marlins lead it 2-1 on a hitter's pitch, although that didn't look that bad.
No, but he's so doggone strong. He's usually a line drive hitter. We talked last night about him not hitting a lot of home runs, I think 19 on the season, but he is so doggone strong. If he gets that bat barrel out there, it hits a good part of the ball, it's not going to stay in the ballpark. That actually was a very good pitch, Chris. That ball was down there just off of his shoelaces, and he went down and got it.
So Estes now works with the bases clear to Moises Alou. Breaking ball bounces, count is 2-0.
I've maintained all year long, especially when we played these guys. When I was managing against them, I thought this was the toughest lineup to wade through in the National League from 1 to 8. It just seemed like everybody was a good hitter in the lineup.
Alou cut off by Miller at third. A tough throw. Kent handles it. Good play by Billy Miller, but a better play by that man. Bobby Bowe sends the crowd screaming. And on their feet, the Marlins lead it 2-1.
If I had my way, there would be no punting on 4th down. No throwaway passes. I would never be told to slide or step out of bounds. Safety would learn to fear my footsteps. And history books would not refer to me as a quarterback, but as a football player.
We used to get the greats and the near greats. Big Lincolns, caddies, 40 foreign jobs. A few parts go bad, water pump here, distributor there, head gasket, whatever. Before you know it, we got another junkyard lifer. But smart cars are making better choices and putting in good Pronto auto parts. They're running better, driving smoother, lasting longer. Pronto has the quality parts for good cars gone bad. The smart choice might be to just get Pronto auto parts in the first place.
Want to see a lot of college football? One plan. Get cloned. Get tickets and hit the road. Here's a better game plan.
ESPN game plan.
Every week, college football games from conferences you can't normally see. Sent right to you.
The ESPN game plan. It can't be duplicated.
Check Friday's USA Today for Saturday's game plan. To order any of these great college football games, call your cable company or DirecTV.
Top of the second here at South Florida, and here we are again. The ominous clouds, although it's still pretty bright on the field, though the lights are on, because this thing can roll in a moment. And the veteran fans here at South Florida bring their rain slickers. We had rain, what, 3 or 4 innings worth yesterday, broken up twice. So here's Glenn Allen Hill to lead off against Al Leiter. Hill was at the plate when Mark Lewis got caught in a rundown, although it looked like he was trying to steal second base.
No, he wasn't.
What was going on?
He wasn't trying to steal second. You don't try to steal second in that situation. What he was trying to do, Dusty Baker rolling the dice and trying to score a run, double steal. And Mark Lewis doesn't run A very well. B, you've got Glenn Allen Hill, who's in there for offense. But Dusty felt his best situation with Bond's speed on third to try to manufacture a run, and the Marlins defense just were able to stop it. On that play, what happens when that guy breaks and the catcher releases the ball, you have to have enough lead at third base to go on the release of the throw to second. Bonds did not react. As a result, the play was dead.
Leiter quickly behind Hill, 3-0. And this, do you give him a green light, Glenn Allen, 3-0?
This part of the ball game with him, Wild, no, I wouldn't give him a green light. I don't think. I think with Al Leiter, with his history of throwing balls, you cannot afford to give a guy green light 3-0. You want to build innings against him. His reputation is that he'll walk a hitter or two, sometimes 3 hitters in 1 inning, and then work himself out of trouble. So with a guy that has a little more control, more apt to throw strikes, yeah, 3-0, but not with a guy that has a penchant to throw a lot of balls.
Well, 2 of our 2 starters are 2 of the 3 that have the most walks per 9. Starting pitchers. We'll keep that in mind as Leiter comes in with his first strike of the inning to Billy Miller. Miller, home run yesterday, became the first Giant to hit a home run in his first postseason game since one of our favorites, Tito Fuentes. Game 1 NLCS against Pittsburgh in 1971. Oddly enough, that was the year Miller was born when that happened. The Giants won that game, lost the next 3 to the Pirates in 71, who went on to win the World Series in exciting fashion against the Orioles. So I said, what do Bill Miller and Tito Fuentes have in common? You now know the answer to that question. They're playing Jeopardy and they throw that out there.
I remember that.
Okay.
One thing we're going to see in this ball game, different than the other games, is the speed of the game. Leiter works very slow, a lot of pitches per batter. Same way with Sean Estes, not very pitch efficient, neither one of these guys. A major league pitcher, a solid major league pitcher that keeps his defense on the toes, averages 14 to 15 pitches an inning. Al Leiter averages almost 19 pitches an inning, and Estes 19 and a half. So you're going to end up with a lot of pitches each inning. As a result, you're going to basically run into a 3-hour ball game.
Count is 2-1 to Billy Miller. This should be 2. Abbott, Renteria, Conine, double play.
Well, that's one way to shorten your games right there.
Yeah.
Walk somebody hitting a double play.
Yeah. Well, that was your proverbial tailor-made one, right?
Yeah, and he just cut the fastball in on Miller, got a little short on the bat, hits the ball to second base, and as you see, Abbott, perfect throw to Renteria, and it's all over but the shouting after that.
So the base is clear and 2 out. It's Brian Johnson, the catcher who came over from Detroit in a non-heralded trade by General Manager Brian Sabian. Marcus Jensen picks up his starting catcher. And Johnson has shown power. This is deep to right, back to Sheffield. Gone! Brian Johnson, who had the heroics against the Dodgers in the 12th inning of the must-win game a couple weeks ago. The 9th inning homer in Colorado last week. A week ago today has just tied this game at 2.
A high fastball out over the plate, belt high. Johnson's dead fastball hitter. Leiter served up 13 of those bombs this year, and so they can't take him out of the yard. Fortunately, the double play took him out of a big inning. Fortunately for Leiter.
All the runs in this game, Ray, have come with 2 outs. Lewis is single with 2 outs. Bonilla's homer with 2 outs. Johnson's homer with 2 outs. Sean Estes, not a bad hitting pitcher, has a home run this year. Oddly enough, it's come against the Florida Marlins off Alex Fernandez in a game at 3Com Park at Candlestick Point. Leiter is ahead of him 1-2. Fastball outside. This year, Estes 10 for 68, including that home run, hitting 147. Whoa! I hit the roof of the dugout, bounded into the seats. Where did it hit? Oh no, it hit a fan. Oh boy, I was hoping it hit that railing of the dugout. Uh-oh.
It's a wonder, Chris. It's a wonder. I've seen so many rockets hit, especially left-handed hitters right over the dugout, right-handed hitters right over the dugout, low-line drives. It's a wonder that somebody has not been hurt really, really badly in all these years. You know, you just cringe when you see that.
Occasionally you do have those, and that doesn't look good. That looks better for the Marlins as Estes strikes out. We'll keep you updated down there. Always a scary sight. Brian Johnson was a scary sight for the Al Leiter, that's for sure. We played an inning and a half, and we're not at a 2, thanks to Brian Johnson's latest heroics.
First, it won a U.S. patent. Then the incredible split fire swiftly ignited the passions of drivers around the world. Now you can get guaranteed split fire performance for just $3.99. Hurry, it's the biggest savings ever.
It's your first company picnic.
Nice tie, sir.
Time to advance the old career.
Nice party, boss.
And get a little FaceTime with the boss.
Nice scalp, sir.
Don't let bitter beer stand in your way. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter face. Have you met my daughter?
We've met all right.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
When you have heartburn and pain, these won't give you complete relief. Problems this bad need Alka-Seltzer, the only one with effervescent power to speed relief, plus the medicines to relieve all your symptoms. Alka-Seltzer, the 100% solution.
Warm, snuggly blankets, rocking chairs and lullabies, baby steps, bubble baths, 1,000 games of hide and seek, curved balls and broken windows, first loves and broken hearts, newborn baby. A lifetime awaits him in a little gray house on Chestnut Street. For a free guide to help you on the path to homeownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation. We're showing America a new way home.
For the last 5 years, I've had this dream.
Feed your dream with Twin Lab Creatine Fuel.
Don't wake me now.
Creatine Fuel from Twin Lab. Feed your dream. Feed the machine.
Split fire spark plugs are performance.
With Split Fire, it's money-back guaranteed performance. And guaranteed performance has made Split Fire a winner around the world. Now we're ready for you with the biggest savings ever. Hurry, this pricing ends soon.
Welcome back to Pro Player Stadium. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Dave Campbell with you. 2-2, the Giants and Marlins in the bottom of the second inning. So in an inning and a half, Ray, we have more runs than we had yesterday after the duel between Kevin Brown and Kurt Reeder. Swinging at the first pitch is Jeff Conine. Mark Lewis to Jeff Kent, and there is one out. And of course, we saw that scary scene with Estes at bat. And obviously the medics are there. I mean, it's hot anyway. He has no chance to react. I thought that it hit either the top of the dugout or one of those two rails, but he. Of course, Estes is the one that hit it. He doesn't feel great about it. We'll try and get you an update. At least the fan is alert. He had no chance. He had no chance. Wow. Charles Johnson, the best kept secret in baseball. All-star catcher. Home run yesterday, estimated to go 479 feet. And in this day and age, when they have a better grip on measuring the balls that are hit out of the park, Ray, I know the Marlins have not been around, let's say, as long as the San Francisco/New York Giants, i.e. 5 years versus a century. But it was the longest Marlin homer ever hit here at Pro Player Stadium, 479, surpassing one hit by Moises Alou.
Well, it didn't surprise me that it went that far because it was a bolt. That ball got out of here in a heartbeat.
Estes behind Johnson, 2-1. Johnson grounds Miller. Couple hops across to Kent, and there's 2 down. Let's go over to Dave Campbell. Dave, what are you zeroing in on?
Thank you, Chris. Well, Mark Lewis got a big base hit, so that made the lineup pay off. But watch Jeff Kent on this double play ball Sheffield hits. He has to make the full turn, juggles, bobbles, and then they just miss getting Sheffield. If you got J.T. Snow in there, that's probably a double play.
That's a great point right there. Left-hander fielders the ball throwing, going towards second base. That's a great point.
Well, you give some to get some, and that's part of what he gave.
Well, you do. There's no question about it. It's a part of what a manager has to do. And when you have a fly ball pitcher like Estes and a fly ball pitcher like Leiter, you tend to put your offense in there. There's J.T. Snow. When you have the sinker ball pitchers, then you put your defense in there. Relate to you a game real quick, and my career, Spark Anderson started me against John Matlack. I got 2 hits, drove in 2 runs. We win 3-2. Doug Capilla was pitching. The next game of the doubleheader, I didn't start. Tom Seaver pitched, and he started Rick Arbach at second base. Joe Morgan was hurt, and I couldn't figure that out until about 3 years later. I finally learned enough about it to realize that with Seaver pitching, he wanted a true second baseman out there, and with Capilla pitching, needing the offense, he put me in there. So that's the way managers think.
A good one.
A good one.
I think Sparky qualifies as that, and Estes qualifies a good strikeout pitch. He just froze Devon White. A 1-2-3 inning for Estes, an inning after he gives up a home run. We've played 2 in Florida. 2-2.
Hello, Mama Rosa's Pizza. May I help you? Where?
Mama Rosa's delivers. Right now at Mama Rosa's, you can get 2 medium pizzas with cheese and 1 topping for just $8.95.
There's only one place to buy Mark Buchanan Pele Sportswear. Actually, there's 5.
Got your Mr. Allen. Well, Pele that.
Mark Buchanan Pele Sportswear.
Pele.
Pele Sportswear.
Got your Mr. Allen. Well, Pele laughs.
Like, should you use the same club on every chip shot? The answers are in Golf Digest. No matter how well you play, you'll find tips and advice that will dramatically improve your game. Guaranteed. Want to know where the slot is at the top of your backswing? Or if you're good enough to carry a 4-iron, subscribe to Golf Digest. 12 issues are only $19.77. You'll also get our video. Hit it longer and straighter, free.
Call 800-228-1500. That's 800-228-1500.
Great timing, guys. Played for 13 years and I retire, and now you're coming out with this sports news channel.
All these scores and highlights are really going to help my career. Look at me now. Gardening. Morons. You guys want to kick my dog while you're here?
ESPN's presentation of the 1997 Division Series is brought to you by Joe Ball, the hottest game on earth. It's en fuego. And by National Car Rental. So what are you waiting for? I hope Dan gets a piece of that billboard there on fuego. I mean, that's him. Giants and Marlins 2-2 in top of the third inning. And Al Leiter will now face the top of the order. Javier, Vizcaino, and Bonds. Stan starting in center field today for Dusty Baker, single. He came around to score on Mark Lewis's 2-out base hit. Leiter in 3 starts against the Giants this year in the regular season gave up just 2 earned runs in 17 innings. Today he's given up the 2 earned runs in 2 innings. But it just goes to show you that Joaquin Andujar was right. Sum up everything you need to know in baseball, as he used to say, in one word: you never know.
My buddy Joaquin.
Joaquin the dog Andujar.
Don't call me Jack.
1-1 pitch to Javier, in there for a strike. 1-2. I remember we said that his dad had broken up the Lonborg bid at a no-hitter. Game 2 of the series in '67. He said, it's odd. I broke up a no-hitter in Fenway Park a couple of years ago in the 8th inning also. Tim Wakefield was making a bid. He broke up Kevin Brown's potential perfect game bid with a base hit yesterday in the 5th. And Javier follows with a second base hit in this game. Sheffield over. They're going to challenge him again, and Gary bobbles the ball. Javier's slide is for naught. It's a double. So Stan Javier is his 3rd hit in 5 at-bats. He's 3 for 5 in this 2 games.
Well, there's never a doubt. Watch how Stan Javier is going as hard out of the box. Full tilt, never hesitates at first base. You see what happens right there when you take your eye off the ball. Sheffield picks his eye off the ball. Watch his eye peek. He peeks off the ball there. As a result, he bobbles, and easily Javier's in at second.
So for the 3rd straight inning, the Giants have their leadoff man on. 2 hits by Javier and a walk to Glenn Allen Hill in the 2nd inning. Nice job by Vizcaino. Javier to third. Bonilla across the diamond to Conine. But now what the Giants couldn't do yesterday with Bonds at second after the home run by Miller. Bonds doubled, but they had him at second with none out. They moved him over, this runner, Ray.
Well, you see
2 out.
You see how he chose to do it. He chose to do it with the bunt. What happens so often is your manager will tell you to get the guy over any way you can. Hitters will try to hit the ball to the right side, and as a result, they struggle. Barry Bonds is as proficient as anybody in the game. Marlins infield in on the grass.
Barry fouls the first pitch off. He singled in the 1st inning, sending Javier to third. So Barry 1 for 1 today. And yesterday was 1 for 4. So 2 for 5, and trying to erase a sub 200, or dare I say below the Mendoza line, postseason batting average. And Marlins trying to pinch this run off, Ray.
Yeah, they are.
Let me ask you something. You're an infielder, and he did not go around. Count as 1-1. You're playing in on Barry Bonds. How are your teeth feeling?
Oh, man, you just have to make sure you get that glove up in front of him. Bob Bonilla knows him very well. But with Javier's speed, they're going to be going on contact.
There's some contact to right center field. Back goes White. He looks up to the track, makes the catch. Javier will saunter home a 395-foot sacrifice fly, and the Giants regain the lead.
Textbook baseball. Double, get him over, get him in. That's what the Giants have done all year long, and that's why they're the Western Division champions.
They've scored a run in each of the 3 innings here in Florida. So now with 2 outs and the bases cleared, Jeff Kent is up. So his seen those home run balls by Bernier and Brian Johnson really carry. I didn't think Barry got all of it, but the way the first two carried, Ray, I thought maybe the ball was carrying a little better today. It's less damp than it was yesterday. Of course, it was raining yesterday, and maybe there's a little more carry to the park. I thought it might have gone.
Yeah, the ball carries a lot better, as you mentioned last night, to left field in this ballpark for some reason.
Slug but foul by Kent.
And of course, it's only 361 feet out there at left field with that a junior green monster out there.
Right.
The ball really, you have to jolt the ball here. It's 434 in left center field. Goes back to a pinched-in corner back there. 404 almost a straightaway center. So there's a lot of ground out there, and you can't miss the ball at all if you're going to hit the ball out of the ballpark from left center field down to right field, because it's a very big park to the right side and very bandbox-like in left field.
Yeah, there's what you're talking about, 434 and then 404, left center and right center. And right field is very deep here, 385 to straightaway right, 345 down the line, which is a pretty good poke down the right field line. And you see the pan to straightaway right field is at 385. Much shorter distances in left field. Kent fouls it off.
And thusly, probably the most difficult ballpark to play in the outfield in the National League, especially in left and center field. You have the wall for the left fielder, then you have all those angles and the wall for the center fielder, not to mention all that ground that Devon White has to cover. Look at that distance out there.
It's in left center, that 434. They gave it a little Fenway-esque, although there's no part of Fenway that's deep. The new parks, even when they're built closer in, they get the little corner. The architects get the drool over for 6 months of designing these stadiums. Kent is 3-2 on Kent, and he's drawn a base on balls. So Kent aboard with 2 outs, and that'll bring up Mark Lewis for Leiter. Walk number 2.
Here, Chris, we talked to Jimmy Leland, as you see him there before the game. I asked him, why did he choose to pitch Al Leiter as opposed to pitching Alex Fernandez in this game? Me thinking that Fernandez is their number 2 starter, and he was very simple. Al Leiter's had a real tough time on the road this year. 5-7 with a 6.37, whereas at home he's 6-2, 2.28.
Do you think that going righty-lefty had something to do with Jimmy's thinking?
No, he said absolutely not. He said had they played on the road that he would have gone with Fernandez, because he believes Fernandez is his number 2 pitcher. Ironically, Fernandez has pitched much better on the road, maybe because of his Latino background. He and facing all the pressures here, pitching before a lot of hometown family people. He's actually 7-6 at home.
Slug by Mark Lewis to left center field. Over very quickly is Devon White. Here's the throw as Kent tries for third. Ball squirts free from Bonilla, and moving up alertly is Lewis. So you've seen Dusty Baker Gamble, and Lewis in the lineup has a pair of hits already off Leiter.
Well, he can flat out hit. Not like I say, I don't know that the gamble was Mark Lewis. I think Mark Lewis would have played. I think the fact that Mueller hit the home run, he's in the lineup. But Mark Lewis can flat out hit. He was in Cincinnati. We had him there. He hit 300 for us. He's just a great hitter. And what I'm seeing today is there's no doubt about it. This Giant team came out full tilt. They have challenged every ball to the outfielder. Twice going to third on balls to right field. Again going to third on a ball, going to second on a ball to right field by Javier. Now ball to center field, keeps going to third. So they're playing very, very aggressively.
Well, in a game that they knew that they would be fortunate to get a few runs off Kevin Brown, of course they only got 1, they felt they should have and could have won it. They could have snuck away with that win, and they obviously the pressure on them here not to go home down 0-2. A long way to go, but the pressure right now on Glen Allen Hill is to plate these 2 runners in scoring position. Kent at third, Lewis at second, 2 out. Here is the other offensive move made by Dusty Baker.
What you got to do here as a pitcher, you have first base open. You have 2 choices here. What you're thinking as a manager, Glen Allen Hill, good hitter, a lot of power. You have him, you have Mueller. Next, you pitch him tough. If you get behind him, you go ahead and pitch around him. You've got 2 hitters to get out here.
Glen Allen thinking the downs, missed that one. It's 1-1.
Now the count's 1-1. You're going to see Leiter, try to make a pitch on Glen Allen Hill. And then if you lose him, get behind him, you go ahead and pitch around him and go to the next hitter. It's something that young pitchers can really learn. With first base open, you make your choice between the hitter at the plate and the hitter that's on deck.
Well, and he shall be a Levon Hernandez. Up throwing the right-hander. Felix Heredia, the left-hander, throwing in the Marlins 10. Pitch on the outside corner, 1-2 to Glen Allen Hill. 3-2 game, a big situation here in the third inning for the Giants. Breaking ball, Johnson blocks it.
That shows you why he's only had one pass ball, and that was this year in 2 years. Broke the record, didn't make any errors this year. But watch how he squares up to the plate. Both knees go straight to the ground, keeps the ball right in front of him. There's no angle there so that the ball can veer off to either first or third base.
I don't know who's a better goalie down here in South Florida, him or Van Beesbrook. I'm not sure. He's pretty tough. He's as good as they come behind the plate. Baseball's best-kept secret, all-star Charles Johnson. 2-2 pitch. Fastball, big pitch by Al Leiter. The Giants strand a pair in scoring position, but they've regained the lead here as we move to the bottom of the third. 3-2 San Francisco.
Hey, best man, time for your speech. I remember Ted's first wedding. He knew his way around. What was the lady's name? Kathy. I feel like I know almost better than Ted.
Don't be a victim of bitter beer. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter taste.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
Dad, what's that?
Well,
Dad, it's a bear.
I'll check.
Everything's fine. Would a nightlight help, son?
Every day, car batteries are put to the test. And every day, America's most trusted lives up to its name. Die Hard, tried and true.
Ha ha, Dad, very funny.
This is my yard. It has never been covered by a tarp. I don't have a grounds crew to keep it green. Nobody cheers for me out here, and nobody pays me. But I don't work here for glory. I've got another yard for that.
True Value, official hardware store of Major League Baseball and yards everywhere. Buy a Green Thumb Kids shovel, rake, or hoe for just $5.99 each, and get a 3-year-old spruce tree for your yard free.
Riverdance. It's sweeping the U.S. with sold-out performances. Now you can experience this symphony of sight and sound for only $19.98. That's a $5 saving. Don't miss your chance for the original Riverdance. It's only $19.98. Order now.
Chris Berman along with Ray Knight, also Dave Campbell. I guess it's a question, Ray, of which starter settles down. Leiter's given up a run in all 3 innings. Estes gave up the homer in the first inning, but had a 1-2-3 second inning.
Well, this is the type games they've had a lot this year. They have to settle down. They both are very hyper. Estes, this is his first post-game start, playoff start. Rookie pitcher, had a great year, but they'll settle down.
Have scored a run in each of the first 3 innings. Al Leiter will start it off against Sean Estes. Estes on the inside corner. It's 1-2. Leiter is a hitter. Weak chop foul. Leiter I have so many notes. It's the one time I look down and I can't come up with it. But
well, he swings the bat well. He's got a lot of pop, but he swings the bat very well, Chris. I don't know what his batting average is, but he can get some base hits.
This one, a little looper. Bonds, though, playing him down the left field line and makes the catch in foul territory. Lifetime out 9 for 79, a $114 batting average. And for those of you tuning in late, He missed the Braves' offensive explosion. They win 2-1 yesterday, 13-3 today at home, so they fly to Houston now for Game 3 in that series with the Astros. A 4 o'clock Eastern time, 3 o'clock Central time, Friday start. Game to be seen here on ESPN, and the Braves trying to close the Stros right out. Renteria on deck with Kurt Abbott now, the top of the order coming up. Play the theme from the Magnificent Seven. Kurt Abbott steps to the plate. For those old enough to remember the old cigarette commercials on TV, that was the Marlboro theme. Maybe the best music ever used for a commercial ever. Magnificent Seven, number 7, Kurt Abbott. Estes behind 2-0, and one thing he had done, he's only the second batter of the 10 that he's faced that he did not start off with a strike. There's a stubble of a 24-year-old, not getting the full beard going right. What a season he had. Pitched the most innings that he had ever done in any level of professional ball, pitching 201 innings this year. Had 180 the year before, 110 with Phoenix, and 70 brought up by the Giants. But this is the most innings that he has pitched. A little problem below his left shoulder, deltoid muscle, but did not really experience much problem after his latest start, which was Friday at home against the Padres. That was 2 starts ago. He got a couple extra days rest. Maybe that was enough to make him bounce back. The count is 2-2. He says he feels good. It's not even a question. And he beat the Marlins both times he pitched against them this year, including hitting a home run. Ooh, Estes snow cones it over to Kent. Abbott's gone. So since the home run, Sean Estes has now retired the next 6 batters that he faced.
Well, he's definitely settled down. He shows great concentration. Fastball running away from the right-handed hitter, hits it on the end of the bat, reacts very quickly. Snow cones the ball, as you said, gets himself gathered, makes a nice strong throw to first.
Yesterday's hero, Edgar Renteria, is up and pitches way outside for a ball.
You had mentioned him throwing 201 innings. Generally, a #1 starter would give you about 235, 240 innings a year. Sean Estes, over the course of the season, developed some tenderness in his shoulder, and there was some question, at least we got with Cincinnati when I was with the Reds, that there was some question about his durability since he had not thrown a lot of innings in his minor league career.
Pitching coach Dick Cole looking on along with Dusty Baker, always with the double sweatbands for Johnny B. Baker from Sacramento, California. 3-0 pitch from Estes, and all of a sudden he loses Renteria with the bases clear and 2 outs, and that puts a runner on for Garrett Sheffield. The first walk issued by the Giants staff in these 2 games, but for Dusty Baker's point of view, it couldn't come at a worse time because here comes Sheffield.
Yeah, you certainly don't want to put people on in front of Gary Sheffield. At least you want them to hit their way on. I'd mentioned earlier about how the Al Leiter had a penchant to walking people and building big innings. Both of these men, I can't reiterate enough how often they walk hitters. 100 walks for Estes last year that led, or this year that led the National League. That's a lot of walks in 201 innings. That comes out, as you saw in the graphic before, almost 5 walks per 9 innings. That's a lot of base runners.
Estes works from the stretch, keeps his eye on Renteria, but the man he's really concerned with is Garrett Sheffield, and he starts him off with a strike. Renteria, of course, right now not likely to be going at all with the Sheffield at the plate. Led the team in stolen bases with 32. Breaking ball, hammered to left for a base hit. Bonds will play it on 2 hops. Renteria stops at second. So with 2 outs, the Marlins with a pair of runners for Bobby Bonilla, who homered his first time up.
Actually, I think Estes got away with a pitch here. This is almost a helicopter breaking ball that hung right out over the plate. to Gary Sheffield, and Sheffield hit it a line drive instead of depositing in the left field seat. But a lot more subtle break to that breaking ball than the prior breaking balls that I've seen.
You see that Bobby Bonilla has 4 postseason home runs now, but none of them came with Pittsburgh when he and Bonds were teammates, and he played for Jimmy Leland. So he doesn't need a home run here. He reaches out and hits to the right field. Glenn Allen Hill will come up throwing. The throw to the plate, not in time. Renteria scores. We're tied again. Oh, boy.
I'm telling you, a little different than last night's ball game. Yep. Great pitching, great defense tonight. Everybody running the bases like a merry-go-round. Ball being rocketed all over the field. That was really a great piece of hitting right there. Fastball down and away, off the plate actually. That ball's 2 inches outside. Bobby Bonilla hitting the ball to right field for a base hit. That just shows you what kind of great hitter he is. He hits the breaking ball for the home run, goes up there, thinking fastball away. There's Charles Johnson reacting. I guarantee you, these guys, they know what this is all about. They know what this is going to take. And there's nothing like a playoff atmosphere. And when you've been there for the first time, you just nervous the whole game.
Moises Alou looks at a breaking ball low, 1-0. So all this happening with 2 outs. Bonilla now has all 3 RBIs, and they've all come with 2 outs. A 2-run homer in the first, the single here in the third. Moises Alou, who homered in his first at-bat on opening day as a Florida Marlin. But okay, you brought me over for big bucks as a free agent. We can make this work. Took him 1 at-bat to do it.
Well, he had a great year. Just a consummate professional, does everything well. Actually, most people don't know, but he started in the Pirate organization before he went to Montreal, so he already has a track record with Jimmy Leland.
Two and 1. Moises said he talked to his dad before yesterday's game, manager Felipe Alou, manager of the Expos. Felipe says, you know what he loves as much as baseball? Fishing. I don't think he saw the game. I think he went fishing yesterday. Maybe Felipe watching right now. Very proud of his son, obviously. His son broke Felipe's Alou RBI record. Felipe had 98 back in the 1962 National League Championship Giants. And Moises this year with 115. He broke his dad's best. Average years playing for his father. His RBI total really up this year. Be a big RBI here in the postseason if he comes through on the 2-2 pitch. Oh, what a nasty curveball.
That's a nasty hook.
So Estes with a big pitch after he let a couple get away. Bobby Bonilla, 3 RBIs. The Marlins and Giants tied at 3. Buckle your seatbelts.
How do you stop a rhino from charging? How?
Travel with Joseph Van Oss Photo Safari to Kenya's land of the Maasai.
How do you stop a rhino from charging?
And you'll see a culture and a wildlife like no other on earth.
How do you stop a rhino from charging?
But bring your Visa card.
How do you stop a rhino from charging? Give it an American Express card.
Because this photo safari doesn't take American Express.
Wait till they hear this in Nairobi.
Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
The newly redesigned DeVille for the time of your life. Your nephew, what could he be up to right now? Hanging out, pondering the mysteries of the universe, growing up much too fast. Well, now's the perfect time to find out. MCI introduces 5-cent Sundays. 5 cents a minute. Every minute of every Sunday, if you're an MCI customer. And if not, call 1-800-SUNDAYS to become one.
Do I hear 2,000 for a date with supermodel Jennifer? 2,000.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signal?
Sold to number 10 for $2,000.
Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1. So don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
It's your first company picnic.
Nice tie, sir.
Time to advance the old career
Nice party, boss.
and get a little FaceTime with the boss.
Nice scalp, sir.
Don't let bitter beer stand in your way. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter face. Have you met my daughter?
We've met all right.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
First pitch here in the top of the fourth inning of a 3-3 game by Al Leiter to Bill Miller is high for a ball. What a good one we have brewing here. A little different good one than we had yesterday, but are these teams just befitting their characteristics that we saw the 6 months from them, or what? Scrapping, little things, doing big things. Of course, Billy Miller is one of those who does the little things. And he's worked Leiter to a 3-0 count. Miller, who grounded into a double play his first time up. A little different than his bat in the 7th inning yesterday when he had a solo home run off Kevin Brown. Inside pitch. Well, it might have been a ball, but he offered at it, and Bonilla makes the play, and there's one out. Let's go over to Dave Campbell, and Dave Ray's talked about the base running in this game, and certainly you're viewing it firsthand.
Well, Chris, I mean, the Giants, there's no doubt they're going to be aggressive in this game, and it starts right at the top of the lineup with Stan Javier. Back in the first inning, man on first. Watch how he looks over his shoulder at Gary Sheffield. He doesn't care about the third base coach. They know they're going to run on Sheffield's arm. He gets the third. That set up a hole for Lewis to get a single. His second time up, he's going to challenge Sheffield's arm again. He gets the double. That sets up the sacrifice, then the sacrifice fly by Barry Bonds. So Javier's aggressive base running has accounted for 2 runs.
And it sets a tone for the whole team. You see everybody. Javier starts it out that way, and then everybody's going from first to third. So it's following the lead, and he's a leadoff hitter, and that's what you're supposed to do. It reflects back to Dusty's enthusiasm, the way that he hustled and played the game. And
that's Javier's pants. You're going to hustle like that, you're going to cost the team more money to buy extra jerseys. And it's well worth it. Brian Johnson fouls this off. It's 1-2. Brian, of course, homered. Right field, pretty good wallop off of Al Leiter in the 2nd inning. Brian of the postseason last year, and catcher along with Flaherty, the NL West champion San Diego Padres. Leiter 2-2 to Johnson with the pitcher Estes on deck. Last year, we mentioned with the Padres, he's 3 for 8 in that postseason series against the St. Louis Cardinals. He was 0 for 3 yesterday, but obviously a home run today, so he continues to be a big game player. Former quarterback at Stanford. Fouls it back, and the stat we like to use with Brian is he has the best winning percentage of any starting quarterback at Stanford since 1974. That means he has a better winning percentage than John Elway did at Stanford. You have to go back to the days of Plunkett to find a quarterback with a better winning percentage. Started 1 year, went 7-5, took his team to Gator Bowl. Barry, since Hatch is there. Murph and the gang in the clubhouse doing a lot of sewing here on this Giants team. I can't say that this is a Yankee Stadium type crowd, Ray. You know, rabid every pitch or every inning. They're up when the Marlins are doing something or key moments of the game, but they're just learning about this postseason stuff here. What an exciting start for this franchise to have a game like yesterday, their first entrance into the postseason. Got some empty seats here. They had about 4,000 seats not sold here this morning. We'll get the count for you later. But you know what's nice about 4 o'clock starts? The kids can go to school and still make it to the game. I like it. School and a ball game. Does it get any better than that?
Doesn't get much better than that. Ball game, I don't know about school.
Well,
Bristol University, though.
Yeah, Bristol University. We let you out early to get to these games at 4 o'clock.
What do I have to do to get enrolled in that?
I don't know. You better talk to one of the deans.
Okay.
Because I looked at your transcript and you're borderline.
Oh, am I?
Yeah, you're borderline.
Must be an Ivy League.
Oh, no. Oh, I don't think so. Oh, count to Johnson. We do it again. 10th pitch to Johnson. Brian worked him for a base on balls. Baseball continues this evening on NBC. Our friends from NBC with the Orioles and the Mariners, and what a scene that'll be. Randy Johnson in a packed Kingdome against Mike Mussina of the Baltimore Orioles. Orioles, Mariners, and NBC, and then baseball tonight with Ravi and Gary and Peter Gammons, Harold, and all the gang. That's midnight tonight.
Another bunt situation here. We'll see if the little things get done.
Estes lays it down. Leiter has to go to first. Abbott covering with 2 outs. Johnson at second base.
Sean Estes does his job. Now they got a chance to drive in a run with 2 outs.
Well, 2 sacrifices and a sac fly for the Giants thus far in 4 innings, Ray.
Squared around, bat barrel above the bottom, the handle. Just eases down to the ball, keeps the bat fairly square, hits the top of the ball and just deadens it. You don't have to direct it so much toward first base or third base if you deaden that ball, and it'll naturally deaden itself if you don't grip that bat too tightly.
Stan Javier 2 for 2, a single and a double and 2 runs scored. Now tries his work at the plate to drive in Brian Johnson. Well, he did go. Strike 1.
In my estimation, that's the pitch right there, that cut fastball that makes Leiter so effective. His fastball up in the strike zone, you tend to swing at it, but eventually you'll lay off of it. But it's very tough to lay off of that cutter that he starts on the inside part of the plate, coming down and in and at your shoelaces. Same pitch right there on his hands. And again, Al Leiter, as I mentioned earlier in the game, not very pitch efficient. A lot of pitches going 3 and 2, 2 and 2, drives the batter nutty. I remember talking to Jim Fregosi about Mitch Williams, and he will certainly throw a lot of pitches.
Gets away from Johnson. Brian Johnson into third. So alert base running by the catcher, Brian Johnson. That doesn't happen very often, even though it certainly wasn't Charles's fault on that bouncer.
There was not a thing he could do about that. You watch this ball right here. It's a breaking ball that goes down, almost hits the plate. Charles does a great job. Look at his quick feet getting over there in front of that ball to keep it from going to the screen. And pitchers have a tremendous advantage here because of Charles Johnson. Now with the runner on third base, 2 strikes, he can throw any pitch he wants to because he knows Charles will block it.
Off the fists, Renteria's going to have a tough day. He's got no throw. Javier's done it again, an infield single, and the Giants seesaw back in the lead. 4-3.
Well, again, just the little things. Going to third base on a pass ball, a lot of guys out there will freeze up, especially catchers that can't run. The bunt for the base hit, a bunt for the sacrifice, then you get the runner to second. And then a ball that no way a guy can score from second base on this ball. But Renteria does everything he can going away from him, and obviously Javier's speed, he had no chance to make the play.
So Javier at first, and there he goes on the first pitch, and Charles Johnson has the ball pop out of his hands. What aggressive play by the Giants.
Well, you know, we talked about not running against this guy. Al Leiter has a tendency to drop his head when he's coming home and to look at first base when he's going to first base. So watch him here. He drops his head. He takes off on the movement of his head, and he gets a great jump. This is not a steal on Charles Johnson. He had no chance. Javier, tremendous jump as he, during the course of the season, stole 25 bases out of 28 attempts. So real good percentage and outstanding base stealer. There you see second in the major league for as far as percentage.
Hey, you can't get lulled to sleep thinking he's behind. Remember, Johnson gunned Javier out yesterday, and stands to take that. Vizcaíno ground ball to Abbott. Routine play over to Conine. But back and forth we go. We're heading to the bottom of the fourth inning. Al Leiter has been touched for a run in each of the four. And that's why the Giants lead 4-3.
When it comes to choosing the right motor oil, let's make something perfectly clear. Introducing 3 new oils from Quaker State, specially formulated for the vehicle you drive. Synthetic blends for hard-working engines and high-horsepower engines. A full synthetic for ultimate engine protection. Extra filtered with patented micro-Q filtration to ensure your oil starts clean for a difference you can see and trust. So when it comes to protecting your vehicle, why take a chance? Quaker State. The choice is clear.
Call it strength.
A world leader in insurance and investment.
Call it expertise.
$450 billion in assets under management.
Call it vision.
Anticipating the opportunities in more than 50 countries.
Call it innovation.
Give clients smarter choices in a changing world.
Call it AXA. Here you know us as the Equitable. AXA. Go ahead. You can rely on us.
Hey, best man, time for your speech. I remember Ted's first wedding. He knew his way around. What was the lady's name? Kathy. I feel like I know almost better than Ted.
Don't be a victim of bitter beer. Drink Keystone, America's never bitter beer. Never a bad taste, never a bitter face.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Stop making faces. Drink Keystone.
Launch control, this is Houston. We are go for launch. Copy that, Houston.
A lot of furnaces only know one speed.
2, 1.
What? American Standard makes gas furnaces with more efficient two-stage heating for a quieter, gentler flow of warm air. American Standard, built to a higher standard. Now get a free 10-year parts and labor extended warranty when you buy a variable speed Freedom furnace system. Call your participating American Standard dealer today.
Saturday night. Ron Dane, Wisconsin is the best big young running back that's come into college football since Earl Campbell. And that's saying a mouthful.
Wisconsin Northwestern, Saturday night at 7, only on ESPN.
1-1-1-1 equals 4. 2-0-1 equals 3. The Giants 4, the Marlins 3 in the bottom of the fourth inning. Conine, Charles Johnson, and Devon White. 6-7-8 against Sean Estes. And Ray Knight, a little bit different, but now you're wondering what kind of turns will this game take from here on in. Estes was cruising along until he got in trouble with 2 outs the last inning.
Yeah, he's still settled down a little bit. He's only thrown 49 pitches with 30 strikes, as opposed to Leiter already up to 81 pitches. So it's going to be interesting this inning if the Marlins get something going, if Little let Leiter hit.
Fastball misses high and away. 2-0 to Jeff Conine, who grounded a second to lead off the second inning. This is Bobby Bonilla, who's driven in all 3 Marlins runs. He and Barry Bonds are saying, take those stats that you see with us with Pittsburgh and just file them out the window. Conine draws a base on ball, so here is Estes with the 4 pitches and Conine aboard. And again, you put the lead on him. He walked Renteria with 2 outs and the base is clear, and that's when the trouble started the last inning. Oh, those bases on balls.
Well, what hitters have are tendencies to be aggressive. And there's just not a lot of hitters that are able to be patient throughout at bats time and time and time again. Estes and Leiter both feed off of hitters' aggressiveness. You see that if you're really patient with them, they'll take you deep in the count, and as a result, they'll walk a lot of people. The tendency is when you have a guy that throws as hard as Estes and Leiter is try not to let a guy get behind you, and you swing at a lot of first ball pitches. As a result, you don't always get the best pitch that you're going to get in an at-bat on the first pitch.
So the Marlins trail at 4-3 here. Bottom of the fourth inning. Conine, the runner at first, with then out for Charles Johnson. Breaking ball in the dirt, and Brian Johnson blocks it. Conine stays right there.
A little different strategy here with Jimmy Leland at the bottom of the order. You certainly don't want to have to, as you see here, Brian Johnson making a real good block himself. You don't want to necessarily bunt in this situation because you're at the bottom of the order and you're going to have Leiter up and you force yourself to possibly use a pinch hitter. So what they'll do is they'll let Charles Johnson hit and maybe get an advantage in the count and then hit and run. Somewhere else in the lineup, you would bunt the guy over here even to play for a tie because you're at home. You play for the tie at home. You don't play for the tie when you're on the road.
Charles Johnson with a good look at Rich Donnelly's signs. 6 balls thrown by Estes, and there's his first strike. Right, Giant fans, remember that 2 starts ago that Estes in his start at San Diego started out with 11 straight balls and was going inside of 2 innings. You see him start to throw 4, 5, 6 in a row. It floats into their mind. Well, his last start was outstanding against San Diego last Friday. But he's behind Johnson here, 3-1.
Well, when a guy's pretty much around the plate, 3-1, you send a runner here even with nobody out just to get the infielders moving. But the downside of that is he hits a line drive double play, so I don't think that Leland will send him 3-1. He'll wait to 3-2.
Ball 4. So Estes has walked the first 2 men here in the 4th inning. And a table is set for Devon White. Now the call's being made out to the bullpen, getting some guys up.
Well, it's now or never for the Giants. You're talking about it being a critical game. It's a critical game for the Giants. The Marlins, if they lose, this ball game is still 1-1 even series, even though you go to Giants and things swing to the Giants. But if the Giants lose this ball game, it's going to be very, very tough for the Giants to come back and beat a Kevin Brown in San Francisco.
The righty was Doug Henry, the Dick Cole, the pitching coach, has ordered up. The lefty is Terry Mulholland, who Dusty Baker still doesn't know who might start the 4th game if they get that far. It could be Mulholland, could be Danny Darwin, could be Mark Gardner, who's back with the club, and it's great to see him. But right now, it's Devon White. Devo up with the bases loaded, but remember they pinched off a run at the plate in the bottom of the 9th. Devon couldn't deliver. He went 0 for 5 yesterday. He has a chance to knot this thing with a base knock.
I think he might bunt in this situation. Nope. And the reason he's not, if Jimmy Leland, okay, he wants him to bunt the ball. He wants him to bunt the ball. If you bunt in this situation, he's got all those pinch hitters over there to bring in and break this game wide open. And Jimmy Leland, I mean, it seems to me that you bunt this situation, not to go ahead and run on second base, and then you use your pinch hitter if you have to.
Whoa, swinging away at that one and count as 1-1.
He's pissed. He wants him to get the sign right. There's no way. There's no way. You know, you go through this. You cannot believe, here we are in the playoffs, you cannot believe how often players miss signs. Look at Jimmy Leland right here. They got the bunt in order, and here he goes. Look at that. Talk to him. Talk to him. I did that, and my players got all over me because they thought that I reacted too much. But I guarantee you, anybody that manages this game wants it done correctly. And the worst thing in the world is missing signs.
Talk to Donnelly at third base. Leland emphatic. Miller and Kent pinching in, and here comes the bunt, and naturally the pitch is about 7 feet high, and it's 2-1.
Well, another thing about it, Chris, when a guy's struggling with throwing strikes when you square around the bunt, that's another distraction. And it's very difficult to throw strikes with people squared around. So he squares around, he gets a better look at the ball. He may even walk because he's getting a better look at the ball, and he puts all the pressure on the Giants' defense. So it's absolutely the right play, and I was shell-shocked when he didn't square the bunt the first time, but obviously Jimmy Leland...
He was shell-shocked.
He was, too.
Squares the bunt, pitches inside, 3-1. So Estes really struggling to find the plate. Here come the signs again. It's got to be the same one, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. He's going to square to bunt it. If it's a strike, he bunts it. If it's a ball, he takes it.
Alex Arias has moved into the on-deck circle to bat for the pitcher, Al Leiter. 11 of the 13 pitches by Estes this inning are balls. Offered, pulled it back. What a rally this is for Florida. 3 walks and the bases are loaded.
That's why you got to let your manager do your thinking. Jimmy Leland knows the situation. He's not caught up in all that excitement. Hitters, sometimes they want to drive that one in so badly that they get caught up in everything and they forget about what the right thing to do is, and they look right through a sign.
Mark Gardner on the phone saying, hey, you guys ready? That's what Dick Cole wants to know.
by far the toughest thing to do as a major league manager is make your changes with your pitchers. A lot of times you do it one hit or two late.
So Alex Arias, along with Jeff Conine, the two position players for Florida that were here when the team began in '93, and Conine, Johnson, and White on board. Just hit the outside corner since Gary Darling behind the plate.
First and third baseman here are going to come home. They're tight, shading to the plate. Short and second baseman are playing deep for the double play to try to keep the Giants out of a big inning. Jeff Kent there.
Breaking ball misses outside, 1-1.
I guarantee you this is when Dusty's stomach is knotting up, and it's tough.
Breaking ball, base hit. Conine scores. Johnson will stop at third. Word got a new game again. It's 4-4. The pinch hitter delivers.
Well, it's easy to hit when you look for a ball right down the middle of the plate. That's a pretty good breaking ball, but Arias stays with it, drives the ball to the left side, and as we talked about early in the game, when you walk people, you build big innings. You cannot defend the walk. Three walks, base hit.
And that'll be it for Sean Estes. Estes got the lead a couple of times. He couldn't hold it. Doug Henry's going to come in to face a bases-loaded situation.
The Craftsman Hardware Sale. It's what your home's been waiting for. For 3 days only, save 1/3 on this 3-piece adjustable wrench set, 8-piece screwdriver set, 24-piece socket set, or 11-piece wrench set. The tools that make anything possible are on sale. The Craftsman Hardware Sale at Sears. The biggest Craftsman tool savings of the season.
How to speak Australian. Remote control. Beer. Foster's. Australian for beer.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
Fortune 500 companies know that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. National Car Rental. Because at most major airports in America, National gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Car Rental.
Well, folks, Doug is the man. Doug took this place global. Doug made commitments around the world. Doug convinced me to risk it all. And it was Doug who shipped everything with some company I'd never heard of. Screwed the whole thing up. And that's why Doug is locked up in the closet. Hello? You okay in there, buddy?
Next time, make it FedEx, the most reliable express company there is.
Can I come out now? No, Doug. I'm not finished singing your praises.
Fours are wild here in South Florida. Giants 4, Marlins 4, bottom 4. Bases loaded for the Marlins with none out. And reliever Doug Henry, who played a big role for these Giants for about 2.5 months, a right-hander out of the pen. His ERA, though, up as he's been hit hard the last couple of months. First half of the season, he was much more effective. He does have a pretty live fastball, Ray.
He's got a very good fastball, up in the lower 90s, and hard breaking ball, split finger for a changeup. He comes right at you. Doug Henry's got good stuff. And this is a situation where you have to bring in a guy that's capable of punching out a couple of hitters, because if you're not, you're looking at getting a ball game blown wide open.
He'll face Kurt Abbott with the bases juiced. Charles Johnson at third. Devon White at second. Alex Arias, the pinch hitter at first, who delivered with his base hit. Sun coming out. Maybe fitting for the Marlins and their fans as they got a big rally going courtesy of 3 walks and a hit off Sean Estes. Henry, former Brewer, former Met, a one-time college teammate of Barry Bonds at Arizona State. Facing Kurt Abbott. Ooh, big hook there.
Big hook. Kurt Abbott, renowned fastball hitter. Everybody in the National League knows it. And here's 2 breaking balls in a row. And you see Abbott leaking a little bit, pulling off the ball with his hip. And, you know, he's not known as a real good breaking ball hitter, but he can hammer that fastball.
Again, a breaking ball at 0-2. You might as well try it. It's outside 1-2.
He's not going to see a fastball to hit. Any fastball that he's going to see here is either going to be elevated or pinched close to his body or tried to spot away. He's going to try to get him out with a breaking ball. I think right here he might try to keep him honest by busting him in with a fastball. No, he's going outside again.
Abbott sat on it, fouled it back. Count remains at 1-2.
You got so many things you can do right here, 1 and 2. You can elevate the fastball. You can go away with the fastball. You can go back to the breaking ball. But what hitters do with 2 strikes, they tend to hit breaking balls better with 2 strikes because they give up a little bit more and go to right field.
Henry 1-2 again to Abbott. Ground ball. Vizcaíno turned by Lewis for the double play. Of course, the run does score, and the Marlins take a 5-4 lead. Johnson scores on the double play ball, and a good turn by Lewis at second base.
Yeah, textbook pitching. Breaking balls away, then bust him inside with a fastball. He hits it a little short, and there you see Lewis, who's not played a lot of second base, turn the double play as a hustling Abbott.
But still a runner in scoring position, Ray, at third base for Edgar Renteria, who is 0 for 1 with a walk.
Yeah, but the key in that situation, Boomers, is to get 2 outs on one pitch. And because even if he scores this 2-run ball game, you're still in the ball game.
Henry working that curveball away as he did with Abbott. Misses on that one on young Edgar Renteria, 21 years of age. Certainly had everybody here in South Florida jumping, not to mention everybody in Colombia jumping, where he's from, only the 4th major leaguer ever to hail from that country. Barranquilla, Colombia. Well, this will be a big job by Doug Henry if he gets out of a bases juice situation, trending only to 1 run. Renteria has had success, as you can see, against Henry. Brian Johnson got to make sure that he blocks that, as he did, because Devon White certainly capable of scampering.
It's very hard here because of the rain and covering this infield a lot. It's very hard around home plate. You see a lot of balls hit with a lot of spin and bound really hard. That's why Charles Johnson is so valuable.
Fastball up high, 3-1. So Renteria worked a walk last time up and came around to score after Sheffield and Bonilla singled with 2 outs, trying to get his second free pass of the afternoon. As we said, he's walked again for Gary Sheffield.
Man, those walks will kill you. That's 4 this inning. Pretty good matchup on the bases right here. Renteria runs real well. Doug Henry does not deliver the ball to the plate very quickly. In fact, he's about a 1.45. So if the Marlins choose to run, there's a pretty good chance Renteria will be second, but then safe at second. But then you've got to probably walk Sheffield. So I'll imagine, yeah, they're talking about that in the dugout right there, whether or not they're going to run him. They probably have him holding though.
Little high, ball 1 to Sheffield.
Although I would take my chances. If I thought I had this base stolen, I'd steal the base, let him walk Sheffield, and take my chances with Bonilla. Renteria probably on his own, Chris. What you do with runners that are that good at stealing bases, that good an instinct, you put them on their own, and then you have a hold sign, which you give to them that just shuts it down. It's like putting handcuffs on a runner.
Foul back. 1-1.
It looks like to me that Renteria really isn't working for a lead, so they're going to make him stay there, and Sheffield driving the run.
Ivan Hernandez throwing without the baseball. He's on his way in. He'll leave it right there in the glove. I don't need to throw that. I'm ready.
No, I think he's strong enough. he knows he's ready.
Breaking ball, low and away, 2-1. Pitches this inning by the Giants. 9 strikes, Ray.
Not very good. Dusty showing some concern over there. Whenever that camera is focused in from center field to people at home, when you watch that catch, if you ever see a 5 and then a 1, that's the throw to first base. The 5 is the indicator.
Oh, boy, 3-1. Better be careful with Sheffield right here. Padilla hit his home run on a 3-1 pitch.
Oh, man, that ball was a hanger right there. Gary just looking for something inside to pull, but that ball was just a helicopter.
Robbie Bowe driven in the first 3 Marlin runs, but
Johnson giving the signs there. Johnson giving the signs for whether to throw through or throw to third base. 3-1 count. If Renteria starts, he gave the sign to let the infielders know if he's going to throw through or hold the ball or throw to third.
Setting up outside, Ray. Foul back. Do it again. 3-2 now, so that means Renteria moving. Obviously, 3-2 with 2 outs. Well, the wheels turning a little differently today for both Jimmy Leland and Dusty Baker.
Yeah, see what Jimmy Leland read his mouth. Watch that step-off move now. Watch the move where the pitcher steps toward third and comes to first. A lot of times 3-2, they'll do that. Runners will get deep thinking he's going to home, and he's stepping to third and picks you off to first.
There goes Renteria. Ball 4.
Man.
So the 5th walk surrendered by the Giants here in the 4th inning. The Marlins have bases loaded again. They only have 1 hit here. The pinch hit single RBI by Arias. And here is Bobby Bonilla.
And there's not anything you can do. You see the pitching coach there. There's not anything you can do. Everybody just sits over there and you're flabbergasted when a guy cannot throw the ball over the plate. You can't pitch around everybody.
2-run homer in the first, RBI single in the third. Batting from the left side for the first time today, where his average is not as good, but his power is better. 17 of his 23 home runs from this side of the plate. We need more action, say the Giants. Mulholland up the throw again, and Dusty Baker going to talk with Doug Henry. He's going to allow his bullpen a little time to get warm in a hurry.
That's exactly what he's doing.
Mark Gardner and Terry Mulholland, 2 guys normally start. Gardner was the opening day starter for the Giants. He gets up there in a hurry.
Well, Bobby Bonilla, very good low ball hitter, very good fastball hitter. He's going to keyhole Henry here with him having such trouble getting the ball over. So he should not chase the ball up in the strike zone.
Little chopper, Lewis to Kent. And the bases are left full of Marlins, but not until we have yet another seesaw. Barry Bonds and the Giants due up when we start the 5th inning. But this is what we call a Moody Blues game. Ride my seesaw. After 4, 5-4 Florida.
Tonight, Comcast goes back in time. First, Lifetime paints an intimate portrait of fairy tale princess Grace Kelly. Then more true stories come to life on Real History. TLC's polished up some legendary antiques, intimate portrait, and Real History. Do I get frequent flyer miles for time travel?
You sell these direct broadcast satellite dishes. Is that correct, sir?
Yes, Senator. We sell DBS systems.
But isn't it true that DBS systems don't carry local programming?
There's nothing illegal about that.
But if someone has cable TV, they still get local programming, like local news, sports, and weather, for example.
When you sell someone a DBS system, do you tell them they can't get their local channels anymore?
Do I have to answer that? I don't have to answer that.
If you're thinking about satellite TV, you might want to think twice. Comcast, everything you connect with.
I don't have to answer that.
It's my understanding that with cable TV, additional outlets don't cost much at all.
I have no knowledge of that, Senator.
But if a customer buys a DBS system from you and wants a separate receiver for each set, that could get pretty expensive.
Why would anyone want more than one television in their house?
In fact, these DBS receivers can cost several $100s each.
Do I have to answer that?
Isn't it true that additional outlets with DBS can be much more expensive than cable TV?
Is that a fair question?
If you're thinking about satellite TV, you might want to think twice. Comcast, everything you connect with.
How is that a fair question?
Just a little piece of paper. But this card from the Boys and Girls Clubs has kept millions of young people off drugs, out of gangs, and in school. It's only a little piece of paper. It tells every kid who carries it that someone cares about what they do with their lives. You know, every day another 300 kids join the club, but there are thousands more who need help. It's up to us. Support the Boys and Girls Clubs.
Boys and Girls Clubs, official charity of Major League Baseball.
Very strange day in the National League. A lot of walks in Florida, a lot of walks in Atlanta. A meltdown. 4 consecutive walks. 16 balls and 18 pitches for Mike Hampton. It brought in a go-ahead run, made it 4-3. He later gave up a single. It was 6-3, and the Braves have a 2-love lead. Boomer?
All right, Robbie. Well, as Yogi once said, deja vu all over again. Walks there for the Stros, and walks shelved Sean Estes. And now the new pitcher for the Florida Marlins, and they just played Elton John's He Shall Be a Levon. From Cuba, Levon Hernandez, who won his first 9 decisions in the major leagues this year, ended up with 9-3 mark. But Ray, as you point out, it's his first relief appearance. So he's going to be used out of the bullpen, as Saunders is going to be the starter in Game 4, and he's quickly ahead. 0-2 here in the top of the 5th of Barry Bonds. Missed outside.
Well, I don't know how the Marlins get these guys, but they get young players that really know how to play the game. You mentioned Renteria from Columbia.
Rings Bonds up with a strike on the inside corner down by the knees. Boy, he worked confidently and quickly to Barry Bonds.
Well, they've got great confidence. He just seems to come in and throw strikes. As you mentioned, 9-0 to start the year. Good movement on his fastball. Barry Bonds looking away and leaning out over there and having to jump back. But, you know, 1, 2, 3, see you later. And they just...
Yeah.
Mr. Dombrowski. There's nothing dumb about Mr. Dombrowski. It makes you look brilliant the way these young guys just keep on coming and coming and coming.
Well, Devon Hernandez, and he strikes out Jeff Kent with a strike. Defected from the Cuban national baseball team when they were playing in Mexico in 1995. A little bidding war. And the Marlins went out with Devon Hernandez. The Giants, Dave Dombrowski winning out there, and they're hoping to bring him up last year, and they didn't want to rush him. He didn't impress right away, but but they waited, and boy, the waiting was well worth the wait. Well, Dombrowski, Leland, and the Marlins, and he's had a Kent 0-2. He pitches with confidence here.
Well, he does, and what you find with people like this is they played a lot of baseball. You mentioned Cuba, being on the Cuban national team, so he's pitched a lot of baseball. So although he's a rookie for the major leagues, he's had a lot of games under his belt.
They say internationally he's played in front of crowds of 50,000 or more, so not that this is just another game, but he has seen this sort of pressure, though this is a little higher level. So when you're pitching for Cuba in international competition, there's no higher level there, and he just rung up Bonds and Kent.
Look how this pitch is located. Charles Johnson sets up outside, and he just threads the middle. I'm talking, just throws the ball right in the mitt and does not have to move the mitt at all. That's the thing that this man has, a young player that has outstanding command and control of the fastball and the breaking ball.
Mark Lewis will try it. Lewis drove in the Giants' first run with a 2-out single in the first inning, and he swings to that pitch by Livan Hernandez. 22 years of age.
He's just keeping that ball right there below the knee where it just doesn't look good to hit, and these hitters are taking it.
Wow, and the crowd wants the old 1-2-3 Olay.
Yeah, you mentioned a little bit about the crowd. Maybe it took the Hispanic out there to get the crowd rolling.
Ripped by Lewis to left field. Base hit. Running to the corner is Alou. Lewis makes the turn, but will hold up as Alou makes a strong throw to second. So Mark Lewis is now 3 for 3. A single, a double, and a single.
He can flat out hit. A little hanging breaking ball. That breaking ball just kind of sat there for him. Mark Lewis mentioned his ability to hit with 2 strikes, and again he shows that. Doesn't try to swing too big, content with just getting the bat on the ball flushly.
Glenn Allen Hill walks and struck out. Looks at ball 1. Changes where he sits in the last game. Oh, that's hammered, but it's going to be foul.
That's that high fastball I was talking about. He can Tommy Hawk the ball with the best of them. Watch him go up and get this high fastball. This ball is up around his neck, and he hits it like he's chopping wood. He's as good a high fastball, or he likes a high pitch as much as anybody in the National League. He likes that pitch up there.
Foul the back. You know, that shot that went in the crowd, nobody was hurt there. We should mention, remember earlier in the game, off the bat of Estes, the hard shot hit the fan. He looked to be okay, but we understand that they took him off for a precautionary reason, obviously, to be examined at a local hospital. But we think he's going to be okay, and that, of course, is good news for those of you watching the game all the way through. 1-2 pitch now on Glenn Allen Hill. Ground ball to short. Renteria. They shovel to Abbott. The Giants are gone here in the 5th. For the first time in the game, the Giants don't pick up a run in an inning. 5-4 Florida.
Polished brass has always had one problem. Until now. Delta introduces Brilliance, the extraordinary polished brass finish that's guaranteed to shine for life. Brilliance from Delta, the faucet.
The veterans of foreign wars have been in some tough battles overseas. But when there's a crisis here at home, the VFW is right there at the front line. As always, the veterans are known for their courage, their commitment, and their dedication. They're just not known for their camera work.
The hard work that goes into getting a beautiful natural wood look just got a whole lot easier. New Olympic Interior Wood Stain minimizes problems like blotching, streaking, and lap marks with our unique absorption control formula. Seal with Olympic Polyurethane's new Smooth Flow formula. formula, and it's also beautifully protected. Olympic for interior wood. Now it's easier than ever to bring the beauty of wood indoors.
The Phone Miser message.
Scrooge the phone company.
Phone Miser with your Windows 95 PC guarantees the lowest cost on every long-distance call. So,
Scrooge the phone company with Phone Miser at money-saving stores.
Is your dandruff sending the wrong signals? Get Selsun Power. Doctors recommend Selsun Blue #1, so don't send the wrong signals. Get Selsun Power.
I'm Cal Ripken, and this is my nightmare. I'm driving to the ballpark to make my 10,000th consecutive start when all of a sudden...
Ready to take the field. And starting at third, number 65, Dan Bigelow.
This is when I figure out this couldn't be happening, because I use Fram filters, and you know how dependable they are. So I pinch myself and...
Fram filters, as dependable as the people who use them.
A lot of focus on Charles Johnson in the series, and well, it should be, but Brian Johnson, the Giant catcher, is having a terrific afternoon. He's blocked 4 pitches in the dirt today to save advance by runners. He's produced a run with a homer to right field, and his base running, when Charles Johnson couldn't handle this ball in the dirt, he goes to third base, scored on an infield hit by Stan Javier with 2 outs. He may have saved 2 today, and he's produced 2.
Great pickup there for the Giants.
Yeah, we talked about it before as Doug Henry begins here, and Moises Alou wants to give the Marlins a 2-run lead with 1 swing of his bat. For the downs on that one, Alou, Conine, and Charles Johnson. Moises looking for his first hit of this postseason. His first postseason since coming over from the Expos. And Doug Henry is ahead of him 0-2. Center fielder Javier shades a little bit to the right field side of center field against the Alou, so there is some room for Moises to drop one in left center field. Henry works him outside and away, 1-2. Well, now we'll see what the bullpen's all about. There's that hole we're talking about. There's some room. Probably put up a condo on that space out there. Probably sell pretty well here, Ray, in South Florida. Inside, you got him. Strike 3. Alou will sit, and more baseball coming up tomorrow on ESPN. Gary Miller and Peter Gammons on Baseball Tonight at 3:30 in the afternoon, so baseball this afternoon. And then at 4 Eastern, Game 2 of the Orioles at Mariners series. With John and Joe, Scotty Erickson, and Jamie Moyer going in that game. Then at night, Fox has the Indians-Yankees game 2. What a comeback for New York last night. And Baseball Tonight at midnight to wrap it up. So that's a day-night doubleheader of baseball. Wow, what a great week it is for baseball fans. Just the games on wall to wall. Wake up, have lunch, and we're in the West. Have breakfast and get set for baseball these 2 days. Conine rips this one over the hand at shortstop is Caino. Bonds and Javier a long run. Conine will go into second base. The throw comes in now. And Conine for a double.
Well, you mentioned that hole out there to show you how big this ballpark is. You don't see many balls get by Barry Bonds in the outfield on grass. This ball is a sinker down. Conine rips it right over shortstop. Bonds got a great break on it, but he could not cut the ball off. Goes all the way to the outfield wall, and there you see Javier making that cut. So there is a lot of room to roam out there.
Charles Johnson has grounded a third and walked and scored a run. Looks at ball 1 from Doug Henry. So it's the bullpen now as both starters are gone. Estes and Leiter began. And here we are in the bottom of the 5th, and neither are even close anymore. More phone calls by the Giants. Boy, Levon Hernandez was impressive, wasn't he, in that inning?
He certainly was. He threw strikes. I mean, when you sit here and you watch ball, anybody that comes in there and throws strikes is going to be impressive.
Yeah. 1 pitch to Charles Johnson from Doug Henry. Maybe. Maybe not. And boy, while yesterday's game, Ray roared along with the way Brown and Reeder pitched and the way Cook came out of the bullpen for Florida. This one not exactly being played like we're double parked outside the stadium. That's fouled back off Johnson's gear.
Well, when two pitchers combine for 191 walks, it's going to be pretty hard for it to be a real crisp ball game, and both of them did not belie their
Rich Rodriguez, the lefty, throwing in the Giants' pen.
Their tendency to walk people. But also, when you get a lot of runners on base, pitchers slow down, they walk around the mound, as you see Henry now. He's just walking around out there, and it sometimes takes him 25, 30 seconds to deliver the ball.
Do you see an advantage, either team? Middle relief, I'm not talking about the end. Is there an advantage, or are they pretty close?
Well, I think because they're fairly close.
Buster by Henry, and Johnson will sit.
But I believe Livan Hernandez makes a difference in middle relief. I like the Giants at the back end of the ball game because of Rodriguez and Beck. But I have to say the Marlins, because of Hernandez and his ability to throw strikes, there you see him in the dugout, and he was a starter all year, so you don't have to worry about a middle guy setting up your, or a setup guy. This guy can take you right onto the back end of the game.
Devon White up with Conine at second base. Lewis standing at second, as just in case Conine gets a little lazy during this intentional walk to White. Now Jimmy Leland has a decision to make, but it looks like he's made it with Hernandez in the on-deck service.
It is really no decision, simply because Hernandez is a guy that he feels that can shut this club down. His go-to guy. I was a little surprised that he wasn't going to start him in one of the games ahead of Leiter. My way of thinking, with the way that he's pitched, that you have Brown number 1, Hernandez number 2, Hernandez number 3, and Leiter dropped to number 4. But you see how great a manager Jimmy Leland is, because he knows these situations come up, and now he's got a great young pitcher in a ball game that he has a chance to win.
So he impressed on the mound. Can he impress at the plate? 1 for 9 this year, obviously for his career. 2 seasons, 5 for 49.
Well, if he's from Cuba, I got to believe he can swing the bat a little bit. Kids grow up down there playing baseball just like Dominican Republic. When they're 6, 7 years old, they're out there playing ball.
Braves 13, the Astros 3. Little chopper. Tough play for Miller, but he makes it. So Hernandez is gone. The Marlins strand a pair. We played 5. It's 5-4.
When I was growing up in Pittsburgh, my father always told me to do business with people who are reliable and stand behind their product.
Some things never change.
That's right, Dad. That's why I work with First Plus. They're experienced, dependable, and dedicated. They'll get you the best loan to meet your needs. If you're a homeowner looking to consolidate bills or make home improvements, call First Plus. You can count on them to make the loan that's just right for you.
And I thought you only listened to your mother.
Call First Plus at 1-800-510-PLUS.
My love must be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you.
Norman Feedy, Pepsi drinker for life. Pepsi, Generation Next.
Dick, the creator of Miller Lite Advertising, has great news for all football fans. This year, Miller Lite is an official beer sponsor of the NFL. That means that this season will be better than last season. Remember when you were trying to watch a game, but there was that terrible glare?
Well, that's not going to happen this year. Dick says, if you like that, you haven't seen anything yet. Stay tuned.
The world is filled with obstacles, boundaries, and limits. Ignore them. Introducing the completely reinvented 205 horsepower Isuzu Rodeo.
ESPN's presentation of the 1997 Division Series is brought to you by Miller Lite, who reminds you that anything can happen at Miller time. And by Isuzu, builders of the completely reinvented 1998 Isuzu Rodeo. Isuzu, go farther. Chris Berman, Ray Knight, Dave Campbell, and yep, Giant fans fly coast to coast to see their heroes. Marlin fans, I'm sure, will be making the flight for the weekend to San Francisco, hoping that at least Florida keeps it going and try to wrap things up. And Levon Hernandez, who stands to win this game. Of course, Leiter did not go to 5. Marlins never lose the lead. It'll be Levon who gets the potential win. Bill Miller, Brian Johnson, and then a pinch hitter for Doug Henry. Miller, home run yesterday in the 7th inning, but outside of that, found his way aboard, hit into a double play in the 2nd inning, and count is 2-2. You know, we should mention that in the bidding for the 2 Cuban players, not the only 2, but 2-2 pitch, grounded to Conine. He'll take it himself. There is 1 out. The Giants also, along with the Marlins, were involved in it, and they got Osvaldo Fernandez, who started the year in their rotation and then was hurt. So Hernandez to Florida, Osvaldo Fernandez to the Giants. Those 2 kind of won the bidding for the heralded Cuban defective players.
There's a lot of talent out there. You look at Chain-Ho Park, and I don't know what Arabu is, but he's certainly got a lot of money. And Hernandez and Renteria, all these people that come from either Venezuela or elsewhere. Andrew Jones. Takes a lot of money in scouting to be able to root these people out, and certainly the Marlins have done it. The Dodgers are renowned for it.
0-1 pitch to Brian Johnson, in there for a strike on the outside corner, says Gary Darling. I don't know if we ran through all the ups. Tom Hallian at first, Dana DeMuth at second, Terry Tate at third, Brian Gorman in left, and the home plate umpire yesterday, Mark Hirschbeck, working the right field line. Jumped on here right at the first pitch because the Braves game went a little over 3, and I don't know if we properly identified them all, but now you know who they are, and count is 2-2.
Dave talked a little bit about Brian Johnson. When he was with San Diego, he was number 2 catcher there behind Osmus, and then he went on to Detroit, number 2 catcher. The rap on him was he wasn't really good defensively. He's always been able to swing the bat, but you know, I second what Dave says. He looks very solid behind the plate to me.
Brings him up. Striker number 3 for Hernandez here in an inning and 2/3.
Well, he's got a great slider. This ball right here just disappears, and watch how Johnson has to backhand the ball. He's so far out front trying to cheat for that 92-mile-an-hour fastball, but this kid is really a great young talent. Good fastball, good location. Tavares in the bullpen.
You know, he ended up with the loss in game 1 yesterday, but pretty resilient. He's getting warmed up, and here's the pinch hitter, Marvin Bernard. Pesky outfielder from Nicaragua.
Yes.
Wanted to say hello to everybody watching in his native Nicaragua. Bernard, who was really their secret weapon, although not used yesterday against Kevin Brown. The only guy that really even get on base during the regular season, it seemed. Stocky, short and stocky, and a real hustler. And then looks at ball one outside.
That one home run you saw there was hit against Kevin Brown, the only home run that Kevin gave up. One of 2 runs that Kevin, well, actually 3 runs that he's given up to the Giants all year long.
Foul back, so Bernard lived in Nicaragua until he was 12. His family moved to the United States. You talk about a man who's been kind of an explorer from Nicaragua to the United States. He went to Lewis and Clark State College in Idaho. Doesn't get much better for explorers than them.
That's a good one.
Off-speed pitch is in there for a strike. Hernandez ahead of Bernard, 1-2.
You know, he makes you want to swing the bat. Every pitch that he throws, there's 2 strikes again. I think every hitter he's gone to 2 strikes on. He makes you want to swing the bat because he's so much around the plate.
Fouled off. We'll do it again at 2-2. 5-4. The Marlins lead here in the top of the 6th inning. Giants with a run in the first. The Marlins come back with a 2-run homer by Bonilla. Make it 2-1. Giants tie it in the second. Take the lead in the top of the third. But Florida ties it 3-3 after 3. 4-3 Giants and 5-4 Florida. Bonilla calls for it. Boy, 2 impressive innings of relief by he shall be a Levon Hernandez. Levon leaves no one on. Bernard is gone. 5-4 Florida.
The value you want, the service you deserve, that's the Comcast guarantee.
From great programming variety to free service calls, Comcast delivers the most value for your entertainment dollars. With Comcast, you'll get all the top-rated cable channels and broadcast stations starting at less than $1 a day. No one connects you to more entertainment and communications options for the money than Comcast does. That's the Comcast advantage.
Comcast, everything you connect with.
This fall, Mr. Allen's got it all. With men's Reebok British Knight, AB Versace or Yukon boots, $29 or 2 for $50. Converse Robinson Adidas Form, $59. Men's and women's Guess boots or Yukon casuals, $29 or 2 for $50. Kids LA Gear, Fila Adidas, $19.98. Boss Beverly Hills Polo, AB Versace jeans, $29 or 2 for $50. Designer silk jogging suits, $29 or 2 for $50. Nylon pants, $10. See it all this fall at Mr. Allen's.
Should you use the same club on every chip shot? The answers are in Golf Digest. No matter how well you play, you'll find tips and advice that will dramatically improve your game. Guaranteed. Want to know where the slot is at the top of your backswing? Or if you're good enough to carry a 4-iron, subscribe to Golf Digest. 12 issues are only $19.77. You'll also get our video. Hit it longer and straighter, free.
Call 800-228-6000. That's 800-228-6000.
This is the playoffs, man. Us Bat Boys need to step up and make a difference. No Bat Boys, no bats. No bats? Let's just say the offense will suffer. That Mariners ball girl's smoking. For the playoffs, a super spit ball. Holy cow. Someone trips on a bat, and I got the whole city of Atlanta on my butt. We don't actually bat, but we do set the tone for the organization.
Bottom of the 6th inning here in South Florida. The Marlins lead the Giants 5-4. And the Marlins will give way in South Florida here on ESPN to the Panthers as the NHL opens up the season tonight. And we're right there for you. The Florida Panthers and the defending Eastern Conference champion Philadelphia Flyers. Eric Lindros, the Legion of Doom. Panthers and Flyers. The Beezer. Lindros, all the stars. As they drop the puck October 1st. Boy, hockey's starting early. Reason being, for about 17 days in February, they're going to have a dream team in hockey in the Olympics, and the NHL will shut down for 2.5 weeks. So to allow that hole, they start hockey a little earlier, it'll go a little later. I'm not sure you were dialed into that race. I wanted to let you know why it's starting October 1st. Here's a guy that picked up the loss yesterday, but he's always dialed in Julian Tavares, now his 91st appearance of the year.
Yeah, good fastball slider last night. We saw he was a little wild, but he slings the ball a little bit. A lot of movement down and in on right-handed hitters.
Kurt Abbott swings at the 0-1 pitch. Throw across the diamond from Vizcaino to Kent, and there is one down. Let me ask you, at this point in the game, Ray, we started to talk about it. It's a bullpen game. It's just a one-run lead. For the way Livan Hernandez is going, he's a starter. He really could go deep into maybe the 8th. So it's Powell and then time. Did the Marlins have an advantage here?
I think the Marlins have a definite advantage. If Jimmy Leland wants, he can certainly have Hernandez, as you see him right there, finish this game out because he's been able to go 8 innings this year, 9 innings, and he's only going to have to pitch 4.5 innings to be able to finish this ball game. On the other hand, if the Giants get the lead into the 8th, then I think it swings over to the Giants with Roberto Hernandez and Betts.
Edgar Renteria looks at 2 balls. The count is 2-0. Something we really didn't get to talk about much at the beginning because we came on in a hurry. Do the Giants start to press now because they are looking at an 0-2, even though they're only down by a run? Chopper to Vizcaino again. Renteria runs fast. And a throw to Kent. A nice play by the opposite shortstop. There's 2 outs.
I think they're really a professional ball club, Chris, and I think that because they've had so many games this year that were close one-run ball games, that they're not going to press until the last, maybe the 9th inning. And then again, they've been able to come back and win, and Dusty Baker certainly, with those great Dodger ball clubs that he was with, knows that all they got to do is stay in there and something can happen positive. But they're going to have to do the little things. They're going to have to pitch and throw strikes and catch the ball. And if they do get runners on base, they're going to have to be able to get the bunt down, and then somebody's going to have to drive in a big run.
Well, their record the best in 1- and 2-run games, except that wasn't good enough to get them a win yesterday. Florida Marlins have the 3rd best record in that category, 42-35. So, I mean, both of these teams are used to these cripplers, as we call them, the one-run affairs. Gary Sheffield, 2 for 4 in the series. Make it 3 for 5. 6-4 Florida.
Breaking ball. Breaking ball. I thought it was a fastball from up here. Breaking ball just hung there. Man alive. He just hit the ball like a laser. Oh, I don't know why Fernandez there is wondering what the ball's going to do. That ball's out of here. He's getting up saying, yeah, hey, that ball was his.
Alex just wanted to get up and loosen up for starting game 3. He looked like Jackie Gleason, and away we go with that one. Boy, that almost took out a whole row of seats back there.
Well, that's why Sheffield is so dangerous. He is so deadly on the fastball, but when you hang something, great hitters, big power hitters that can hit 40, 45 home runs a year, they don't miss it. They hit that ball and it's deposited somewhere a long way away.
So the number 3 hitter, Sheffield, is homered. The cleanup hitter, Bonilla, has homered. And the Marlins have a 6-4 lead, even though the Giants have out-hit them 8-7. 2-1 pitch to Bobby Bowe. That one will reach the seats, or at least the Giants bullpen, behind the Giants bullpen in the seats. And now Leland is...
Oh, he's 2 innings ahead.
That's what I mean. I said, where is he on that? He's on the 2nd sheet of paper already.
Yeah.
Hit very well to right field over in a hurry, and not fast enough as Glenn Allen Hill, and Bonilla is aboard. So Bobby Bowe is 3 for 4.
Again, you can't throw the ball low enough for Bobby Bonilla not to hit it. This ball's almost on the ground. Great low ball hitter. That's actually a sinker that started at his shin and ended up about 4 or 5 inches off the ground, and he rakes it to right field.
Moises Alou, looking for his first hit of this series, has struck out twice and grounded to 3rd in the 1st inning. Ray, 4 of the 6 Marlin runs have come with 2 outs. Two-run homer by Bonilla in the first, a single by Bonilla in the third, and Sheffield's homer here.
Well, they've always said in baseball, first two are the easy outs. That third one's a tough one.
Gary Sheffield, talked to him for a while before the game. He asked him what was different here in September and now as we go into October. Hit 100 points higher, home runs coming. It wasn't a matter, that strike on the inside corner, Lou didn't like it. He said, you know, it's not a matter of me trying to live up to my $60 million contract and they were booing me. He said, I just, it's my own fault. They walked me a lot early, and it would take me out, and at times would think of stats, and I was out of my rhythm in games, and here's an 0 for 12. I decided when the calendar turned to September, get ready for the postseason. It doesn't matter. It matters that we win, not that I do this or I drive in this, etc. And I've taken a whole different approach myself the last 30 games now into the postseason. It's an approach he obviously should take for the rest of his career here in Florida because look at the results. I mean, he's so much admitted that maybe I, meaning Gary, had a little growing up to do and not so many words.
Well, you know, Gary Sheffield I've always found to be a very honest guy. You know, his uncle's Dwight Gooden, and I've known Sheff for some time. He's a great, great player. I don't think he gets enough publicity about how great a player he is. They asked him to move from third base to right field. He did that. But all the things you're saying are correct. He walked 111 times this year. It's very difficult when people do not want to pitch to you. Nobody wants to pitch to him. You come out of your rhythm and swing at bad balls.
Working a little away, that misses 2-2. Trying to get out of it. Already surrendered the homer to Sheffield. Giants have the top of the order to hit against Levon Hernandez in the 7th inning. Johnson goes out to the mound to Cabrera. Said just a minute for all of us at ESPN. To those who are celebrating this evening, the Jewish New Year, Rosh Hashanah. Happy New Year to you folks. Thanks for joining us for our baseball this afternoon and the early part of the evening. Doubleheader yesterday, doubleheader today, single game tomorrow at 4 o'clock. Baltimore at Seattle, 4 o'clock Eastern. Then Atlanta at Houston on ESPN, 4 o'clock on Friday. And then Saturday is, well, if I have 10 minutes, I can explain the possibilities. But since we don't, if this series goes 4, we will have game 4 of this series at 11 o'clock Eastern start Saturday night. 8 o'clock in the West. Bring your turtleneck, Ray, to Candlestick, if it goes that far. Hit well to center field. The Javier is back, but it's more of a rainmaker than a home run threat. Alou still is hitless, but not the same for Gary Sheffield. A no-doubt bullet to left has given the Marlins some breathing room.
How to speak Australian. Farewell performance. Beer. Foster's Australian for beer.
Well, folks, Doug is the man. Doug took this place global. Doug made commitments around the world. Doug convinced me to risk it all. And it was Doug who shipped everything with some company I'd never heard of. Screwed the whole thing up. And that's why Doug is locked up in the closet. You okay in there, buddy?
Next time, make it FedEx, the most reliable express company there is.
Can I come out now? No, Doug. I'm not finished singing your praises.
You found some quiet, you got some room.
Time to enjoy life, and none too soon.
So kick your feet up
and pull your feet up.
Stop making whoopee. You got the moves, you're second wind.
Oh, the ride is thrilling, so let the fun begin.
You've earned it all, folks.
And here's the combo for making whoopee.
The newly redesigned DeVille for the time of your life.
Got a taste for something new? Introducing Domino's new pesto crust pizza. Zesty pesto made from sweet basil, parsley, and savory garlic kneaded right into the dough. Baked, then brushed with pure olive oil and sprinkled with Romano cheese for a truly authentic flavor. New pesto crust pizza, only from Domino's. Get any large, not medium, any large one-topping pizza for $9.99 and a second one topping for $5.99.
Domino's, hot wow now.
The seventh inning here at Pro Player Stadium in South Florida. The Marlins lead the Giants 6-4, and Stan Javier, who is 3 for 3 with a double and 2 singles and has scored 2 runs, shows bunt, which brings Benny in on the grass. He pulls it back, and it's ball 1. There's a new second baseman in the game for the Florida Marlins. For defensive purposes, it's Craig Counsell has gone in for Kurt Abbott. Counsell from Whitefish Bay, Wisconsin, 15 minutes outside of Milwaukee. That worked the Brewers. Javier swings and misses 1 and 2. Ivan Hernandez to Stan Javier, misses inside, 2 and 2. Ivan Hernandez, his 3rd inning of relief. He took over after Leiter was pinch hit for in the 4th. And he's been nothing short of impressive. 2 strikeouts in his 2 innings of work. Of course, Javier's been pretty impressive himself today in this series. Little sawed-off shot to left. Will it hang up there long enough? Yes, it will for Moises Alou, and there's 1 out. And Ray, how fast did this ball to Gary Sheffield get out of the yard? Watch this. This is what we call a 2-backer, because it's back on. You don't have time to say back.
No, you don't. And they're teaching him something right over there. At least when he slams that glove, it's with his left hand.
Yeah. Julian always shows his emotion. Now, that ball hit so hard out there as Vizcaino gets under this one and lofts a fly to right. Starting back now, coming in, Gary Sheffield, and Vizcaino running all the way into second base. Now, I don't know if he lost it in the lights or he just misjudged it, but Sheff gave him a run and potentially is giving him one back.
Well, I don't know what he did on this. He broke back immediately, so I just think that he thought that ball was hit hard. Vizcaino not known for his power, and what you want to do in these situations anyway, you're certainly not in a no-double situation. You want to take the singles away from people, but Gary just misjudged that ball.
So, Sheffield, miscue in the outfield, gives the Giants a base runner at second, but their big slugger has hit a homer, and now the Giants are hoping that their big slugger, Barry Bonds, shows a little power.
Well, with first base open, they're not going to fool with Barry here. I'd be very surprised if they give him anything to hit.
Jim Leland went right at him in a game here on a Sunday in September with a 1-run game, 2nd and 3rd with 2 outs. Instead of walking him to pitch to Kent, Leland went after him, got him to foul the 3rd. However, you're indicating that this is the unintentional intentional walk?
Absolutely. I wouldn't fool with him.
There's a strike.
Well, that's what I do. I just throw the ball right on the outside part of the plate. And if he wants to swing at it, he can swing at it. But I wouldn't give him anything to get the good part of the bat on it.
Barry is singled, driven in a run on the third with a long sacrifice fly, and struck out looking. Hernandez' first batter. Goes a long way to left. Alou is back. He keeps going back. He's back. It's off the wall. Vizcaíno comes around to score. Bonds is into second, and we got a one-run game again, 6-5.
I'm telling you, I've seen him do it too many times. I walked him actually in San Francisco leading off an inning in the 9th inning with a one-run lead, and I didn't give a flip. I just know that he's done it too many times. Again, a fastball away to show you the great hitter that he is. That ball's probably outside. That ball's 2 inches off the plate outside, and Barry Bonds, thinking with the pitcher, hits the ball off the wall out there. Lucky that ball stayed in park.
And I'll tell you what, if we take a look at the fence where the ball hit, as Jeff Kent comes after this pitch, it just missed a home run by about 5 feet. And I don't mean in height. I mean left to right. You see that ball hit off that chevron sign, but if it goes left, that's a home run. That's high enough for a home run. So about 4 or 5 feet to the left, it's a home run.
Go ahead, man. I'm just thinking that he's the best. I have never seen a guy hit as many home run, doubles, extra base hits in clutch situations.
Outside to Jeff Kent, it's 1-2.
There are guys that get base hits, guys that are clutch hitters. Jimmy Leland saw it when he played for him, and I saw it when I managed against him. But you just don't fool with Barry Bonds in crucial situations.
Breaking ball way outside to Kent. It's 2-2.
And the other thing to that is, you know, the old adage, the book. If you go by the book, you don't walk the tying run to get the go-ahead run at the plate. So, you know, a lot of managers go by that. I just go by the ability of a particular player.
Was at second in the 7th inning with none out and never came around to score in the 2-1 game. Foot job off of Hernandez, which enables Renteria to make the play. Bonds over to third base. Maybe he kicked his foot, maybe it hit the rubber. I looked for a while like it might get up the middle, but boy, Renteria reads that ground ball right off the bat. See if it clips him, Ray.
Well, he gets really jammed with this. I don't think it. He tried to clip it. It looked like it hit the mound. It actually hit the mound and took a higher hop. But I think Renteria had a good enough jump because that ball jammed him and he didn't hit that ball sharply.
Mark Lewis, 3 for 3, 3 singles. 2-out RBI single in the first. Single in the third, single again in the 5th. The tying run 90 feet away. Hit well to right, but Sheffield presumably is there. Gary struggled with one, ended up giving the Giants a run, but he squeezes that one. And what a surprise. The Giants and Marlins are in a one-run game. We're just getting revved up. 6-5 Florida.
Polished brass has always had one problem. Until now. Delta introduces Brilliance, the extraordinary polished brass finish that's guaranteed to shine for life. Brilliance from Delta, the faucet.
So, guys, what do we want to do this weekend?
Let's go to the beach.
It happened at 10 till 6 on a Tuesday night, just before the steamed carrots were served.
Guys, it's important. Yes, this is Louisa. What are you saying?
A phone call she would always remember.
We got the house. We got the house.
For a free guide to help you on the path to homeownership, call the Fannie Mae Foundation. We're showing America a new way home.
This is my yard. It has never been covered by a tarp. I don't have a grounds crew to keep it green. Nobody cheers for me out here, and nobody pays me. But I don't work here for glory.
I've got another yard for that.
True Value, official hardware store of Major League Baseball and yards everywhere. Buy 4 packages of Duracell batteries for just $227 or $279 each and get a genuine leather baseball free.
It's no fun to itch. That's why Owens Corning created Miraflex Insulation. It's made with a revolutionary fiber that's virtually itch-free. So it not only saves on fuel bills, it's more comfortable to handle and install. Use Miraflex Insulation because life is better when you don't itch. For a free sample of Miraflex fiber, call 1-800-GET-PINK.
Being a catcher is no walk in the park. Take Mike Piazza. This guy's a human target for a flamethrower. Even foul tips to the mask go at the territory. And he's got to handle pitches, pick-offs, and pop-ups. Not to mention human freight trains coming at him spikes first. Try telling Mike Piazza baseball isn't a contact sport.
Apply for your official Major League Baseball credit card by calling 1-800-8-POP-FLY and get a free gift the first time you use your card.
7th inning stretch time at Pro Player Stadium, and the Marlins have a 1-run lead over the San Francisco Giants, trying to go 2 up in this best-of-5 series. Travel day tomorrow. Game 3 in San Francisco in the twilight at 5 Pacific, 8 Eastern. Jeff Conine to lead it off. He doubled his last time up, was stranded. Conine, Johnson, White, 6, 7, 8. Against Julian Taveras, whose job now is just to keep the Giants close. Surrender that home run to Sheffield the last inning. Bus into Conine, and remember, it was a big decision by Jimmy Leland against Taveras, leading off the bottom of the 9th yesterday to let Conine bat with Taveras staying in and Dusty not going to Roberto Hernandez. And Conine delivered with a sharp shot down the left field line.
Well, he can hit. He was an everyday player until they got Dalton. He had 13 of his 18 home runs this year against right-handed pitching. And Jimmy Leland knows that this man can hit.
A lot of question, well, some question why Leland said, hey, with Taveras throwing the ball down and in, I think Conine gives me a better chance for a base hit than a Dalton or an Eisenreich in that situation. Others question why Taveras started the 9th and not Roberto Hernandez, and Dusty was very clear in that. Says, hey, I don't know that this game is ending the 9th, the 10th, or the 11th. I've got to go Taveras 2, and then I still have Hernandez and Beck. There's Roberto throwing again. I don't know that the game is not going several more innings. Did you question that when Taveras started tonight?
No, I didn't question it at all. I didn't question it at all. When you have games that are tied up, Taveras has done a good job for them. It's very difficult to go to your closer, and I don't know yet who is the closer, Hernandez or Beck. Beck obviously has got most of the saves, but Hernandez actually maybe more a prototypical closer. But the point is, Taveras has done a great job. He's their kind of set up long man, and Dusty's got confidence in him, and he just played the game as it unfolded.
Well, I think the way he has had his pitchers warm up, as you look at Rod Beck, that he's playing it as Beck is the closer. Because if you remember, Ray, shoot pitch, misses outside 3-2. When the Giants were batting in the 9th, Beck stood up to warm up in case they got the lead. Right. As soon as they didn't get the lead, he had Roberto Hernandez stand up to warm up. So to start this series, it's obvious Beck is his closer, at least thus far. Fly ball to right field. Glenn Allen Hill is there. And there is one out. Now Barry Bonds, on a ball that first didn't look like that it would carry that far, missed a home run by 4 or 5 feet both ways, Ray.
Yeah, this ball was a lot closer to the top of the fence than I thought. See there, it hits, what, 3 feet to the left?
Yep, and maybe 5 feet from
5 feet from the top.
Mm-hmm. The proverbial game of inches would have tied it up.
How did you see that?
I wore my glasses today. Well, there you go. You know, put this postseason stuff to rest for both him and former Pirate mate Bobby Bonilla. Both have come out swinging the bat here in this 2 games so far. Of course, Bobby Bo had 3 home runs last year as an Oriole. So that's old news as far as these guys are concerned. Johnson hit that long home run in the 7th inning yesterday. 0 for 2 with a walk and a run scored today. Chop to Bill Miller. Sets himself across the diamond to Kent. And there are 2 out. If you're looking ahead to the Giants, the pitcher bats 4th, and one guy off the bench that they do have that they don't normally have is J.T. Snow. And I would assume he's the first guy off the bench in most situations. Well, I mean, he was not the first, but now that it's late, 1-run game, especially if Hernandez or Nen is in, he hits his homers lefty rather than righty. But we're getting ahead of ourselves, and Devon White is up. Jimmy Leland has already made his defensive move for Counsell at second base. What else was he 2 innings ahead on that sheet, Ray? Where else was he thinking?
Well, he's
outside of how he uses his bullpen from here on.
Well, I mean, that's the most important thing is how he uses his bullpen. He knows that you have J.T. Snow over there. Bernard's already gone. He's got Hamilton as another left-handed bat. There's Jay Powell, the Marlins bullpen. So he's already got in his mind who he's going to use.
Miller across the diamond to Kent. So that a good inning for Taveras, and we have played 7 here at Pro Player Stadium. The Marlins lead it 6-5.
This simple-looking device is the key to unlock your body's hidden potential. It can change the look and shape of every line and curve on your body. Because it's the weight, the challenge, and the secret behind one of the most effective fitness machines in the world. Introducing the Bowflex Power Pro. Bowflex uses patented power rod resistance to give you an incredibly smooth, natural feel for over 60 different health club quality exercises. With features like a built-in aerobic rowing exercise, convertible grips, and convenient folding capabilities, it's easy to see why a Bowflex was selected by Fitness Magazine as the best home gym for 1997 and was awarded a Consumer's Digest Best Buy. It's time to get the body you want with no money down and payments as low as $33 a month. Call right now for your free video and brochure. Discover the body you've always wanted with the Bowflex Power Pro.
What's the right grip feel like? Should you use the same club on every chip shot? The answers are in Golf Digest. No matter how well you play, you'll find tips and advice that will dramatically improve your game. Guaranteed. Want to know where the slot is at the top of your backswing? Or if you're good enough to carry a 4-iron, subscribe to Golf Digest. 12 issues are only $19.77. You'll also get our video. Hit it longer and straighter, free.
Call 800-228-6000. That's 800-228-6000.
Presentation of the 1997 Division Series is brought to you by Old Milwaukee, America's best tasting beer.
Hi, Chris. Quick update. Astros and Braves, how things went. After 4 straight walks, this single broke it wide open. It drove in 1, 6-3. Ultimately, it ended up 13-3. SportsCenter will have full highlights should your game end pre-7:30. Boomer.
All right, Robbie. Blowout in Atlanta. Nothing doing here. The Marlins lead at 6-5 here in the top of the 8th. Florida trying to hold serve at home before the fly across the country to San Francisco. Glenn Allen Hill, Billy Miller, Brian Johnson, 6-7-8 against Levon Hernandez, working his 4th inning in relief. Ray told you that Powell is up in the pen. He has been the primary setup man for Rob Nen. Left-hander Felix Heredia also throwing. As you look down, Powell and Heredia, righty-lefty working, just in case Jim Leland makes the call in this 1-run thriller. A lot of different turns and twists than we had yesterday, lots more.
Well, Heredia's there for J.T. Snow. I guarantee J.T. Snow's hitting 188 against left-handers and 312 against right-handers.
2-2 to Glenn Allen Hill, who is 0 for 2 with a walk. Dusty Baker gambling, putting him in the lineup. Well, not that it's a gamble. I mean, he plays right field a lot. Looking for offense from G.A. Hill. Hernandez a little bit high with that fastball. Crowd wanted it, but Doug's going to get it full count, 3-2.
Charles setting up outside. The ball just a little high, right up at his mask, but outside. That last pitch was one of those pitches was just a little high and just a little outside, so it appeared to be a ball to the umpire. In reality, it could have gotten the corner and it could have been borderline high, but because it was on the edges of both places, it was called a ball.
Foul back. He'll do it again.
It amazes me as how this kid is able to throw the ball so effectively right to Charles Johnson. His command is very, very good. Wherever Charles seems to shift, he always has the ball somewhere in that general area of his glove. Outstanding command. Charles Johnson there, bullpen.
Jams him, gets an infield pop. Conine calls for it at first, and he makes the play, 1 out. Yesterday, in the 7th inning of a scoreless game, Bill Miller went deep off Kevin Brown, deep by 1 row. Can he be the hero or a potential hero again? That's his only hit in 7 at-bats in this series. Grounded to short, pop foul to Bonilla at third, and grounded to first.
Eric Bonilla on the line, guarding the line with a left-handed hitter, shading the line. And Conine at first base. 2 steps off the line. The outfield very deep. They're in a no-double situation here in the 8th inning. Here Conine shading a step toward first.
In there for a strike, 1-1.
And what the no doubles means in the outfield, for those of you that don't know, most of you probably know, is it can't be a ball hit over your head, and you've got to be able to play deep enough to cut the ball off in the gap.
Busted that one on the outside corner. Miller swung through it. It's 1-2.
Johnson, watch how he shifts to the outside. Watch where this ball goes. Right there.
Miller hits it to left field. A little back. He has room, and there's 2 outs here in the Giants' 8th. Following the game, Sports Center with Bob Lee, Robin Roberts. Hope they're enjoying the game like the rest of you are. Had everything to recap the Astros and the Braves, and of course preview the O's and the Mariners. And tonight, 7:30, we drop the puck. The Panthers and the Flyers. Brian Johnson, who homered in the 2nd inning, stepped to the plate, homered in the 2nd, walked, and scored in the 4th. Struck out looking in the 6th against Hernandez. Ground ball to short. A 1-2-3 inning for Levon Hernandez. Renteria makes the play. Oh, man, he waves the crowd on. He has been nothing short of impressive, and the Giants are 3 outs away from falling down.
As you may have read on the internet, independent brewmasters and beer experts conducted a tasting of just about every major beer in the country. For 4 months, they sampled ice and regular beers for character, flavor, and overall quality. In the end, the judges named one beer the best tasting beer in America. Old Milwaukee. So when you want the best tasting beer, now you know exactly what to ask your server for. Old Milwaukee.
My love must be a kind of blind love. I can't see anyone but you.
Norman Feeney, Pepsi drinker for life. Pepsi, Generation Next.
Oh, hi, honey. Am I excited about Thursday? Of course, Thursdays are anniversary.
Of course I plan a trip.
Yeah, we're taking the Orient Express to spa in Thailand. Or bird watching.
Love you too. Bye.
New Visa Platinum.
Did you go to Thailand?
For the world of purchase power for the unexpected, including that trip you never thought you'd take.
This is such a surprise.
Yeah, New Visa Platinum. It's everywhere you want to be.
Somewhere between steel strings and skins, there's brass. Over brass and ivory lingers a cinder gray haze. And when that ensemble comes together in perfect harmony, they make up a color called blues. One of the colors between the colors created by Canon. Canon Laser Color. Its only competition is reality.
Professor Theismann's human physiology class dissects two players in a search for anatomical differences.
You'll note that the Packer chest is hairier. Now, what might that suggest?
High testosterone levels.
Very good. Now let's check the stomach contents.
Marlins leading as we go to the bottom of the eighth. Edgar Renteria, if they say imitation is the sincerest form of flattery. Watch these stances. Gary Sheffield, toed in, knock-kneed. Why is he doing it? Moises Alou, toed in, knock-kneed. Edgar Renteria, knock-kneed. All of them hold the bat high. They all look very similar. I think one of the reasons to keep the front hip closed, and that keeps the front shoulder closed, especially for Renteria, who can go to the opposite field well.
All right, Dave Campbell, thank you. Here's a man that holds the bat high at the plate because as the new Giants pitcher is the lefty Rich Rodriguez. Lots of changes will get you caught up in a minute. The guy that holds the bat high at the plate because he wants to be seen. John Cangelosi. Talked with him before the game. He said, Jimmy Leland says he sends you up there because you're 3'2" and you get a walk. He said, hey, I began my major league career. I was 6'3". Not quite Eddie Goodell up there. I mean, he's a very valuable player, can play all sorts of positions. As he bats for the pitcher, Livan Hernandez, who stands to win this game, we assume that Rob Nen will come in the ninth.
And Jimmy makes a decision to try to tack on, even though Hernandez is throwing extremely well. Rich Rodriguez,
who along with Doug Henry really impressed the first half of the year when Tavares struggled. He too has struggled since that point. Slow roller. Cangelosi tries to leg it out, but Vizcaíno's played a strong game at short. Guns him out. The other changes for the Giants. Stan Javier moves from center field to right field, which means Rodriguez will bat in Glenn Allen Hill's spot, the 6th spot. Darrell Hamilton will hit in the 9th spot. He's going to center field, which means Darrell will lead off the Giants' 9th. Barry Bonds due up 4th for the Giants in the 9th inning.
Dusty making that switch, anticipating men coming in the ball game.
Is the first at bat for Craig Counsell, who was so impressive in that bunt with 2 strikes yesterday. Such a key role he played in the 9th inning. Counsell in for defensive purposes, but he was a pest in every at bat yesterday, wasn't he? He was very impressive.
Well, he's just a ball player, and he's a guy that does everything well. Nothing spectacularly, but he knows how to play the game and does what he's supposed to do.
Little chopper, Vizcaíno again across to Kent, and there's 2 outs. There's Jimmy Leland, and he's made his call. There's only one man warming in the bullpen. Rob the Flying Nen. He'll come in to try and nail it down in the 9th inning. And you heard a ripple of applause. I'm going to tell you what that is. The fan that got nailed is back with a batting helmet on. He just sat down behind the... There he is. He's back. He got hit in the head on a Sean Estes scorcher, and he's back. He says, if the Marlins are going to win, I want to watch this. And he's back for the exciting 9th. As Kent makes the play himself, Renteria is gone. Here we go. The Marlins, can they make it 2 for 2 at home?
Like the way you feel when you get what you need, like the kid in your heart, like a break in the weather. You deserve someone who's always there at your service, quality care.
Ford and Lincoln Mercury dealers.
Hello, Peterson. Henderson. Listen, can't talk, real busy. Just want to touch base. About that contract, let's get moving on it. Yeah, I'm a mover. I'm a shaker. Let's shake.
We make owning a cellular phone affordable,
Can't do it. Gonna be in Hong Kong.
so you can act like you have a lot of money,
Yeah, how's that stock doing? Up 2 5/8. Well, then sell.
even if you really don't.
Sell, 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 sell.
Circuit City, you can't get a lower price. We guarantee it.
Let's go! Let's go! Let's go!
At National Car Rental, we believe that when it comes to renting a car, there's really only one place to go. Because at most major airports in America, National gets you in your car and on the road fast. So what are you waiting for? Let's go. National Car Rental.
The decibel level is up here at Pro Player Stadium. Rob Nen has come on to try and nail it down and make the Marlins 2 for 2 in their first foray to postseason play. Tied for 6th in the National League with 35 saves, and you know he is bringing heat, Ray.
Oh, he certainly is. He throws the ball 94, 95 miles an hour, has been clocked up to 98. Real hard slider that looks like a split finger that just disappears. There's that 98-mile-an-hour heater.
Darrell Hamilton just inserted in the game in the double switch in the center field spot, hits ninth and leads off. Hamilton, Javier Vizcaíno, perhaps Barry Bonds.
It's something that Rob did this year that he did not do last year, is he had a lot more walks, therefore his earned run average was up. He's had a problem with control this year, especially the latter part of the season. He throws a slider that he likes to throw right on top of the plate, and it's got such tight spin that you see a lot of people chasing those balls in the dirt right around the front part of the plate.
And then one of many in this game here, Javier Alou, just to mention, whose dad played in the big leagues. His father, Dick Nen, first baseman with the Senators and others in the 60s, and he's 2-2 to Darrell Hamilton.
And he had double nines up there. Talked about him being 98. He's a little pumped up. 99. He might hit the triple-digit mark.